What's up, y'all? We are live. Let me go ahead and get this. I see some of you in here already. So let me go ahead and get this. Uh-oh, what went wrong? Something went wrong. All right, looks good. All right, let's see here. All right, let me go ahead and get some of this shared out. Let's see here. King Creole, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in. Dom, so exactly. It's about that time. We got top caliber bully kennel in the house. Salute back to you, man. Thanks for coming in all the way from Texas. Casper's in here from Chicago. You know what? I forgot you were in Chicago. I forgot that. Eric Maxwell said, let's get it. Exactly. Donna Whitaker's in the house. Let me see. Can you make some merch and put exactly on them? You know what's funny is me and a small clique of friends, and we've all kind of noticed that we all say that. But I'm gonna have to do that. You know what I'm saying? See if I can get it copywritten. Maurice Humboldt, thanks for joining in. Yep, we on here, Avalanche. We on. I was running a little bit late. That's my bad. Donnie Schmidt is in here. Who else we got in here? And Zarata, what's up? Tuning in from Phoenix. Let's see. Jose Camarillo in from Seattle. That's right. We about to get that dog talk going. Eric Maxwell from Erie, PA. Hotep Kennels is in the house. We got Belinda Pitbull Bell in here. What's up, Belinda? Bossed up Trevi. What's up, man? Thanks for joining in. The Bully View. The Bully View. What's up? Is that a new logo y'all got? What's up, Asani? Thanks for joining in, brother. Derek Hatfield in here. Who else we got in here? Jordan Dennison coming in from Charleston, West Virginia. H-Town Bullies back in the house. H-Town Iron King Beast Kennels back in the house. Smooth, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in. Let's see. Bossed Up said definitely had to tune in for this one. We gonna get into the topics in just a second. WKR, what's up, brother? Thanks for joining in. Slayer the Pit is in. Thanks for getting in here. And let's see. Pitbull said, "Hey, now I just had a thing put together and for merch." Exactly. Bowser Solutions, let's see, says salutations, Mr. Thor and the chat. Thanks for joining in, Bowser Bully Yard, all the way from Canada. Who else we got? Let's see, King Credo, yep, Darren from Tank Dynasty Kennel in the house. There we go. All right, so what's the topics for tonight? Now get through to the rest. Let me see who else we got. Oh, we're almost at the bottom. So we got Brainiac Bullies is in here from Long Island. PvP Finest Kent Bullies is in here from Richmond. Let's see, Pitbull Bell. Yes, thank you, Belinda. You guys make sure to hit that like button and share. If you are on YouTube, make sure you are subscribing. For those of you who are watching from the outside, so none of us know you watching, continue watching from the outside. Imagine Style Bullies. You know what? I'm doing good, man. Thanks for tuning in tonight, dude. Let's see who else we got. Slayer the Pit said about to hurt some feelings with facts. Hey, it is what it is. If the shoe fits, gotta lace it up. Pitbull Bell from South Carolina. Let's see who else is in here. Let's see. Hard Cut Bully Kennels is in the house from Oklahoma City, OKC. Richest Kennels is in here. Who else we got? Boom. Uh-oh, what happened? I think I hit the wrong button. LOE said I'm back. What up, Rome? Thanks for joining in. Let's see. Spirit Rider, what's up? Betsy, North Carolina in the building. Let's see. All right, let's get this going. South Korea for the... Are you in South Korea? I thought you were back already. I didn't know you were still out there, brother. Safe travels for you. How long you going to be out there is the question. So the topics for tonight, breed type versus structure. Which should come first? Most say breed type. Are they wrong? We're going to get into that. We're going to take it back to just the essence of dogs so that can be easily understood, because there's a lot of misinformation and a lot of overhyping things and the priority of those things. So we're going to get into that. Belinda said, when it's time to move on from breed type versus structure and leave people behind and start creating. That's a good question. To breed old or reintroduce quality. There we go. And that's so we're going to kind of bridge those two topics. So me and Belinda was on the same page. Taki Williams said, if the shows aren't competitive and don't mean nothing, instead of complaining about them, should more people go to fix them? That's going to kind of be the highlighted topic of the night. If you notice from the image that came with the reminder set up for the live, what is that reflecting in the light over here? Let's see here. Then who else we got? Dom said, tips and remedies for weak pups, prevention for diseases, and what's too early or too late for first vaccine. So new breeders just getting involved with this breed, make sure you pay attention to this factor tonight, or this topic tonight, as we discuss it. A lot of times you can be old school, like a lot of us cats, and if a pup was weak, you just let it be weak. Then a lot of us started learning that, a lot of times a pup was weak just because he was coming out early with the rest of the litter. That egg may have not been fermented as early as the rest of the litter. So therefore, the pup just needs that little boost. So we're going to go ahead and tell how to get your pups through that phase without all the fancy stuff I've been seeing lately. Taki Williams said, can you give a pregnant female apple cider vinegar? Donna Whitaker said, bully health issues like hip dysplasia, hypothyroidism, etc., like with bulldogs. So we're going to get into that. And it's funny that she mentioned the word bulldog because that is a huge factor in it. Stephen Leduc said, what do you do about false pregnancy? Is it a bad thing? This is Lady Bird's second heat and second false pregnancy. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We're going to start with the false pregnancy. Who else is in here? LOE. Okay, the comments is building up fast. So let's go ahead and jump in here. Also, first off, I am Daryl Thor of Thor Bullies. Shout out to my cousin and kennel partner, Aaron Ace High Thor. You can find us on YouTube. Make sure you click and subscribe at Thor Bullies on YouTube. You can also find us on Thor Bullies on Instagram. Been a little slow with the Instagram thing as usual. I got in one spurt where I was heavy on it posting and I've kind of fallen off again. So we're going to get back into the Instagram thing. It's just, Instagram's just boring to me. It's boring. So I got to get myself into boosting our Instagram. But make sure you follow us there. Also on Facebook, you can check us out on the Thor Bullies page. Also, we have the Giant XL American Bully Breed 2.0 group. 2.0 due to the fact we had hit almost 80,000 members and Facebook shut us down. So we just got starting over. Haven't really been promoting it, but definitely check it out. In the next week or two, I will get more heavy into it. There's a guide section that we keep in the group that is educational. You can go to that guide section and actually keep check off things as you learn them. This time around, my cousin and I were talking, we're going to go ahead, rebuild the guide section, but what we're also going to do is add a quiz to the guide section so that as you've read each thing, learn from it, there'll be a quiz to ask you at the end. If I'm not mistaken, it's set up so that you can take the quiz at the end and then keep track of what you got, and it'll take you back to the things that you got wrong. So we're going to give the guide section of the group a revamp. Other than that, as far as tonight's topics go, first topic, what do you do about false pregnancy? Is it a bad thing? And this came from Stephen Ledoux. As far as what we can do about false pregnancy, there's no real way to prevent it. You got to figure it as part of nature. It is not a bad thing. Reason being, a lot of times with wolves, coyotes, the alpha female is the one that breeds. A lot of times we have this image in our head that every female going into heat in the wild is bred to whatever male is running the pack. That's not true. It's the alpha female that is bred to the dominant male. When she goes into heat, And we all know that when you got female dogs around each other, they go into heat. It causes one goes into heat. Next thing you know, it's a domino effect. They all start going into heat. The purpose in that is to keep all the females in tune and on the same page. So when that main female, the dominant female, is tended going to be the most aggressive, most logical, most intelligent, smartest dog, and most protective dog, best at helping during hunts, things like that. So when she drops that litter, a lot of times other females will go into heat, and then some of them may go into a false pregnancy. The purpose in that false pregnancy is because during false pregnancy, a lot of times females will start to produce milk. When they go into that false pregnancy, these females can also assist in nursing those pups. So that's the purpose in a false pregnancy. We just throw the word false on it because we don't like to deal with it, but it's not actually a negative thing. So that is why the false pregnancy takes place. What causes it to take place is there's just a quick hormonal change. So not only does the female go into heat, next thing you know, she starts moving and operating as if she was pregnant. She gets a little more restless, nipples start to swell. You'll notice they'll start nesting. It only lasts about 3 to 4 weeks, maybe, and then it goes away. In the wild, it can last a little longer because now all of a sudden the pups are start nursing from the female and she starts producing milk, even though she's not pregnant, because now her mom is running off assisting with other things. So there's not much that we can do about it. What you can, there are not pregnancies. There are medications you can get from your vet that reduces, I guess you call it, reduces the symptoms. One thing that is bad about false pregnancy is the nipples start to swell. A lot of times the female will start licking those nipples. What I've done before during that case, especially if I really started seeing them get raw, just put a t-shirt over her. That way she can't get to them. She'll learn to kind of ignore it. And it will pass. And usually it's about, there's not going to be any nursing going on. So therefore, it usually is going to pass, I'd say, in about 2 to 4 weeks. So let's say about 3 weeks, it should pass. Other than that, there's not much you can do about it. It is not a bad thing. It's not something that, you need to worry about or anything like that. Some females are more prone to having a false pregnancy than others are. Let's see, check the comments, see if anybody said anything. This looks like another one of those lives where I'm going to be way behind in the comments because I'm on Bust Up Trevi at 5:11, and I'm already 9 minutes behind in the comments. So let me see who else we got up in here who popped into the house. G Money Bags, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in. Exactly, Rome is back, so we're gonna be getting the Friday night lives back going again with me, Rob, and Rome from LOE Bullies, owner of Champion, Rude Boy, XL. Let's see who else is in here. Ryan Barber said, Raising Bars Bullies, saying hi from Alberta, Canada. Canada's getting kind of deep in the lives on Tuesday, I'm noticing. Yes, make sure to click like, share the live. What are all the other things we do on social media? Subscribe to the YouTube, follow the Facebook. Sinatra, I meant to hit you up. I want to do an interview with you. I'm going to go ahead and put that out on the live. For those that don't know, Sinatra is somebody that has been in this bully game and been around it from the beginning. His catalog of pictures is insane. I don't know anybody that's got anything close to that I've seen. Matter of fact, if you go on Facebook, type in the search bar, type hashtag bring back the bully. And Sinatra's got pictures. I mean, shit, I've been in this game, 4 or 5 years now? And the brother has not, let me shut off my office phone. He has not run out of pictures. I mean, it's nonstop. You know what I'm saying? So definitely check him out. But he's somebody that I think would be great just to discuss the history of the breed, get his opinion of where we're at today. So I'm going to be hitting you. And the reason I'm putting you on blast during the live is so everybody, you can't He can't turn me down now. You know what I'm saying? He's got to do it. So I'm gonna be hitting you up, Sinatra, so we can do that, because I think you'd be a great person to talk to and give a lot of the new breeders an eye of, you know, where you think things went wrong, where you think things stayed correct or maintained, and just get your opinion on where the bully was and where it is now. A lot of my perspective comes just from being from LA. You also from LA, and you know, we were both here when this started getting going. I was more into the hunting and dogs, pit bulls, Rottweilers, things like that at that time. Whereas so I saw it, but I saw it from the outside. You kind of saw it from the inside. So I think it would be great, you know, that way everybody's not just getting my opinion and my little view on this thing. So I'm gonna be hitting you up definitely by tomorrow, so we can get a time to do that and figure out what's best for you. But next topic is bully health issues like hip dysplasia. This came from Donna Whitaker. Bully health issues like hip dysplasia, hypothyroidism, etc., like with bulldogs. Here's the thing. We as bully breeders have to admit that bulldog plays a heavy influence in this breed, and especially that the direction that the breed is going is more of a bulldog influence. You know, and it was funny when, for those of you who saw the live that I did with Tony Moss, shout out to him. He did an interview with myself and just kind of a question and answer thing with myself and Terrell Quincy. I think that was about 2 weeks ago, of TBK and Terrell Quincy of TBKC and Hall of Fame Bullies. And one of the dopest things I think Terrell said during that was that, you know, we're watching the bully get more and more. Before, when we all get into it, you watch all the YouTubes, they talk about this pit bull on steroids is what the bully was supposed to be, but with a more docile temperament, still protective, still driven, wanting to play, wanting to fetch, still able to perform, but less aggression towards other dogs, humans, of course. But, you know, and so he was admitting that, you know, this was supposed to be the pit bull on steroids, but a low-key dog that was an extremely great companion in the home. One of the key things he said, though, was if we wanted the bully to become what it is now, which is more bulldogish, more bulldog traits, why wasn't anybody using the bulldog back then? And I thought that was a great point. A lot of the issues we're seeing with the American bully, from laziness, a dull mentality, stiff stifles, roach back, a lot of these don't come from the Mastiff. They don't come from the American Bulldog. They come from the Oldie Bulldog, the Alapaha, and the English Bulldog. And yet we're headed that direction, meaning we're opening up the genetics for those bad traits to follow. So I think when it comes to these issues, we got to think, you know what I mean? Do we want a functional dog, or do we just want a functional, intelligent dog, or that has a decent lifespan, or do we want to just chase some sort of look that we've imagined? When it comes to, I think the first one she stated was hypothyroidism. When it comes to hypothyroidism, if I'm not mistaken, that is considered like an autoimmune dysfunction. It is a genetic thing. I don't think that's an environmental thing, but it is comes with genetics. We are breeding in the traits that cause it, and at the same time, we don't have a community that sees a dog with the symptoms and says, "Hey, this isn't a bad thing." Some of the breeders of the American Bully think the symptoms of hypothyroidism is a cool thing. It means their dog is a companion. They like to lie and throw the word companion around. To any dog that's lazy and dumb, all of a sudden it's a companion. So when you start seeing symptoms like, especially when the dog has one mentality, and then all of a sudden the dog just becomes overly laid back, lazy, I guess you would say lethargic. You start to notice the dog isn't necessarily eating more than normal, but is gaining weight faster, low energy, Sometimes I know dogs will have fur loss from it. And the only reason I know about it really is because of a neighbor of ours that owns a basset hound has it. Um, when it comes to these issues, they are bred into the community, um, especially on hypothyroidism. The dog needs medication. So if you notice those types of symptoms, you want to get to a vet. It is a genetic disorder. You want to let the breeder that you got the dog from know about it. You want to take the after you've taken the dog to the vet. Once they've said that this is what's going on, speak to the breeder. At the same time, when you start noticing a change in your dog, contact the breeder. Hey, this is what I'm noticing. This isn't what you said about the mom, or this isn't what you said about the dad. This is the dog is at this age right now, and all of a sudden there's starting to be a loss of energy. The dog's gaining weight, but not necessarily eating more. Contact the breeder. Let them make them aware of what it is. Find out from them if they know anything about it. Have they experienced it before? The breeder pushes you off, brushes you off, you know you purchased a dog from the wrong breeder. Same time, take the dog to your local vet, have them run tests on it, and they'll let you know if it is a thyroid issue. From there, they will prescribe you medication. I would suggest that any dog that has that issue is not bred. Unfortunately, in the bully community, and think about those symptoms: lethargic, weight gain, but yet the appetite isn't going up, low energy, fur loss. We are in a community that unfortunately has no problems with those issues. They'll call that a great companion with allergies, and so therefore I'll feed it raw. That's what they'll do. They'll mask it and continue to breed it. So we have to watch that. And this is something that a lot of bulldogs, English bulldogs, have an issue with. The oldie bulldog has an issue with. The Alapaha, not as bad, but also has an issue with. Now, when it comes to hip dysplasia is basically you got the ball of the lower leg, you got a cuff right here, and that ball's supposed to sit in just like that. Okay, I'm trying to see how you guys see it. Sometimes though, the ball is sitting more like this, more like this. It's off a little bit. It's not sitting in perfect. We all have to remember for the first 12 to 18 months, especially with these larger breeds, we're looking at about 18 months. It takes a while for the growth plates in the dog to close up. So over time, they're closing up. And this is when you're supposed to be delicate with your dog and feed it correctly. Once it's in place at about 18 months, bam, now you can run your dog, let it jump off the roof of the house. You can do whatever you want, and they become invincible. But until that point, those growth plates aren't together. So hip dysplasia has always been looked at something that was genetic. A lot of times the breeding community, and this is before bullies, has always liked to blame things on genetics because one takes away from, because one, the lack of research was there for, first of all, but two, if you get a puppy from this guy and it has hip dysplasia, I can say, oh, that's because he's a bad breeder. Next time you need to get a dog from me. That's the kind of the problem in the breeding community. And in the American bully community, it's even more competitive. There's more trash talkers and hate liars and people who just don't even know anything about dogs. So, but the truth is, it is partly genetic. Scientists and veterinarians are starting to notice now that hip dysplasia is starting to look like it's more of an environmental thing. We all go and we get these fancy whelping things. The pups are on flat ground, and that's not natural. Pups aren't naturally on flat ground where they are crawling to get to their mom before they can actually walk, and they're just scooting, dragging their legs, flopping in the background. Typically, what happens in the wild is a den is made and it's domed out. This is what your female is trying to do when she's nesting. You guys have heard me speak on it. I like to have a bunch of towels going around the edge of a pool rather than an actual square whelping cage, whatever you want to call it. I'd rather have something that's in a circle so I can build up towels around it. And then I also like to build it up so that there's a slope, so that the pups are in a slope. And that's where I like to keep them. That way there's that slight uphill that the pups are working against as they're maneuvering around, building up their shoulders, also building up their rear. and getting everything to kind of fall in place like it would if they were in a dugout dome in the wild. There are whelping areas that can be bought now that are starting to look at that. I've only seen one where it's kind of made into a dome where the mom can go in there and you just kind of have towels and everything naturally stays in that upside down dome shape. So that's something that we have to think about. Some of you saw the video that I did, it was probably about 3 years ago, where I take a kiddie pool, I take a fitted sheet, small fitted sheet, I put it over the kiddie pool, tighten it up so that it's like a drum, and then you'll watch me take newborn pups. I put them in the middle of it, and their weight causes it to go down a little bit. You just don't want it to go all the way down to the bottom of the kiddie pool, but their weight causes it to go down, which causes a nonstop circular, sound like a coyote, causes a nonstop circular incline going around the pup as it moves. Everywhere it moves, that incline is automatically there. So I'll try to find that video and repost it, but that is also to give that same effect. So that's something to be thought about when it comes to hip dysplasia. Symptoms of hip dysplasia depends on the dogs. You can have a driven dog and you will never notice those symptoms. But we do know that hip dysplasia tends to be in your larger, thicker bone breed. So the American Bully XL fits right in there. You're typically going to notice, luckily, American Bullies don't have that high level of drive like a pit bull or an Amstaff. Over time, what you'll notice, I would say probably about 3 years, you'll start to notice a decrease in activity. You will notice that when the dog runs, if the dog is cowhawk, when it runs, you'll notice the legs kind of flop out. It doesn't look as graceful as, you know, a dog like, you know, a wolf, a German shepherd, a greyhound running. The legs kind of flop out. In hip dysplasia, what you'll notice is there's limited movement, like the range of motion in those back legs isn't complete when it comes for the time for the dog to reach those back legs, grab forward, and when it comes time for the dog to push off. When dogs who have hip dysplasia hit kind of a fast-paced walk, you'll notice there's kind of a hop to them. You'll notice the rear kind of wobbles when they walk. You'll notice in the thigh area and hip area, there tends to be almost like a decrease in muscle. There tends to be a lack of muscle back there. You'll also notice after long walks, running, playing, the dog kind of starting to limp. Sometimes this can be from injury. Sometimes it could be from hip dysplasia. Again, some say it's a genetic thing, but they are starting to look at it being more of an environmental thing, and some feel that it's mostly environmental. Again, the growth plates as a young dog is a major factor. Over exercising the dog, bad nutrition, over too much protein, dogs growing too fast, being too heavy, especially at a young age. These are the things that cause hip dysplasia. One of the great things to prevent it is keep your pups lean. Everybody likes taking these fat puppies, put them on social media and saying how great they look. To those of us who know dogs, we know what they're doing is the worst thing they could possibly be doing. So keep your pups lean all the way till they hit a year to a year and a half old, about 18 months. At that point, you can start putting weight, muscle, things like that on the young dogs. But up until then, you need to be keeping them lean. Don't worry about people's impression in the bully community. Make sure you're not over exercising them. Make sure you're not letting them jump off of things. Jumping up on things is not as bad of an issue. Jumping down on things and that impact, you want to make sure that's not taking place, because if those growth plates aren't in place and all of a sudden they jump down on something and that impact causes this to slide here a little bit, next thing you know, when it's time to tighten up, it's supposed to be going here to get in place. First, it was supposed to come straight in. Now, all of a sudden, it's off to the side. So as it's trying to come straight in, it doesn't make it all the way. The growth plate seals, and now it's not in there snug like it should have been. And these are the problems that happen with hip dysplasia. What else? So definitely keep the pups lean. Don't over-exercise them. No long walks or anything like that. Glucosamine is great for joint development to prevent hip dysplasia. Also, there's a product, and I don't have it on me, but called Sure Grow 100, I think it is. Old product, helps balance out the minerals and nutrition of the dog so that you have less risk of having growth issues from high rears all the way to hip dysplasia. So that's definitely something to think about when it comes to hip dysplasia. I'm going to go ahead and jump back into the comments and see what y'all got going on here. We got Cider Bulls from North Carolina. What's up? Thanks for joining in. Yeah, Canada and North Carolina is in here kind of deep, Rome. I'm seeing that. Let's see. Chevy said, I'll be back in Okay, so you be back in September. There you go. Let's see what else we got in here. Faith Family Football said, Texas is in the house. Thanks for joining in, man. Cameron Van Ostrom said they go hand in hand. Byron Lopez giving a shout out to Pitbull Bell. Belinda, Kings of Bully Excellence said peace and blessings, fam. What's up, man? Thanks for getting in here. Let's see. We got Ray Garcia in here from Texas. What is that? Brazos River Bullies. Let's see who else. Bayron Lopez said always tune in all the way from Honduras. Shout out to Honduras. That's what I'm talking about. Thanks for joining in. Let's see. Belinda said the thing with shows, we all stopped because we spent a lot of money to get overrun by jacked up dogs. I have watched dogs in the show ring that are considered champions, grand champions, and for some reason, the flaws, they are just not stopping on it. Kings of Bully Excellence said, quick question. If your dog is limping, how can you tell exactly which leg is injured or old age arthritis pain? A lot of times, look at how your dog gets up when it's been resting. Look at how your dog gets up, and a lot of times that will let you know, especially first thing in the morning. So let's say it's an injury. Dogs are not built like us as humans, where we harp on how we feel and our emotions and thoughts. We like to bask and wallow in it. Dogs aren't built like that. So if a dog has pain due to an injury, when they wake up in the morning, they've forgotten about everything yesterday. They're on to the next day. And so what you'll notice is they'll be slow to get up. That means it's arthritis. When a dog is injured, you'll notice that first movement in the morning is going to be a little quicker, and then all of a sudden they'll slow it up because that pain hits. So that's how you can usually tell the difference. First thing when the dog wakes up in the morning is the best time to tell that. Other than that, when it comes to limping, 9 times out of 10 is not going to be an arthritis issue because the dog will adjust how it moves and it will start moving and stretching to get those joints going if it has arthritis. I shouldn't say 9 times out of 10. I'll say 7 times out of 10 limping is going to be due to a injury, some type of issue. As far as telling which leg, you're going to have to pay attention to the movement of the dog. And you'll notice they're going to favor one leg slightly than the other. They're going to put a little more weight on one side, more weight on one side than the other. Once you notice that, you just pay attention to that side, which leg, and you'll be able to notice leg will touch the ground, kind of come up quick. Things like that is what you'll notice. So you're just going to have to pay attention to each of the feet and kind of see which one is the dog favoring. And that will let you know what's going on. DH says structure and breed type, 50-50, and then you build on top. All right, we're going to talk about it. Hotep Kendall says structure first. Mike B saw the guy on FB saying he brought Merle to his yard through the Australian Shepherd. It was interesting and a little over my head. Basically, what I did see a little bit on that. I didn't do much looking at it. Merle is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. Unfortunately, the bully community is a lot like the street, where people find out something or succeed at something, and then that next generation that comes along does the same thing, but they make it louder, bigger. They don't necessarily make it more successful. It just becomes louder, more known, bigger. And, so when he made that post about him breeding the bully to the Australian Shepherd, to me, that should be the AKC stepping in and being like, all right, we got to cancel your papers, or ABKC, I mean. Now, at the same time, we all know that that's how it got in here. You know what I mean? But to me, if that Australian Shepherd is not on his paperwork, then what he's doing is proving he was paper hanging by bringing that Australian Shepherd involved in the breeding. As far as how I feel about it, I mean, it is what it is. We all know that it came from either. Now, if he chose an Australian Shepherd, chances are most people in the bully community don't know good Australian Shepherds. So therefore, they grabbed the first Australian Shepherd they came across. I would have preferred to go to a Nalapaha or even a Catahoula. Catahoula, you may lose some breed type, but at least you're breeding to a good version of a Merle dog. So I didn't look at it enough because I was just kind of like, why are you putting that out there? And since you are putting that out there, is that in your paperwork, in your pedigree? Pitbull Bell says structure and breed type has been over talked about and not many applies. Move on. I don't know that we can move on because there's so much inconsistency and there's so much bad structure. But I think I know why it's that way. So we're gonna talk about it. Dom said reason I put that topic was one pup in my litter, 6 weeks old, is weak. I did beef liver water and clear Pedialyte. Cool. So we're gonna talk about it. Family First, yo, what's up? Shout out to the chat. What's up, family? Thanks for joining in. Let's see what else we got. Trying to kind of skip some of the comments to get caught up on them. I see that was the Pitbull Bell. However, after it can be a good thing if she'll nurse orphan pups. Bam, there you go. Daryl got it out before me. Brainiac Bully said, I wonder if fall pregnancy is more common if you have multiple females living together. Yes, it is. You can have false pregnancies with one female, but it tends to happen when you have multiple females, and that is the way they take care of the pack in the wild. Breed type versus structure is too important. H-Town Iron King B said, a female pocket bully. I'm assuming that was I have a female pocket bully turning 1 year old, still hasn't had her first heat. That's okay if she is at that 12-month period. I would give her another 2 to 3 months and then go ahead and run her to the vet to see what's going on. Other than that, that's not that abnormal. 1 year, yes, it's kind of long. You'll hear people having theirs at 6 months, 7 months. You start to panic. It's not that big of a deal for 1 year, but I would give her another 2 to 3 months and then have her take her to the vet just to have her get a basic check. At some point, even they've heard, but rarely they apply. Let's see here. But I agree with that, what Belinda said. People know the right thing to do. They don't care because they breed into the hype of names and big heads and thick bones. So we're going to get into all that and how this should have been done and how we as breeders have to now deal with it. Because when it's all said and done, what are we as new breeders doing in this new breed? We're still dealing with problems that should have been non-existent 30 years ago. What about false pregnancy after an AI? The AI doesn't have anything to do with the false pregnancy. They're two separate things. So it's that you got an AI. She went into heat. You got an AI done. She had a false pregnancy. They're two separate issues. But yeah, you just had a female that you happened to do an AI on when she was having a false pregnancy, and the AI, I'm assuming, didn't take. Even if you move on and teach as they're willing, if they on the right path, we can't save everyone, nor should we. I agree, but I think because ignorance is so publicized now in social media, I think we all got to do what we can. When I first got in this game, as I've said before, I didn't plan on sharing anything. I was just going to get the dogs we needed, breed them, and I was going to help out those who bought dogs from us or those who studded, pay the stud fee, That was our original plan. But when we started looking at the community and the backlash coming from vets, the backlash coming from laws getting made overseas, how badly promoted exotics were and hitting the mainstream, that's why I think we all need to do our part to try to educate the American bully, but just the dog community in general as much as possible. But I agree, not everyone's meant for the journey, but think about it. American bully and hip hop are the two same things. Not everybody's meant to be rappers, but guess what? You can jump online, put out the worst rap song, and you can find the majority of people don't know anything about whatever they're into. So you can put out the worst rap song, and as long as you get to that dumb group of people, they'll make it popular. Next thing you know, it grows on people who aren't as dumb, but now they kind of like it because they keep hearing about it. It's the same thing with the American bully. We keep posting, people bragging about how much money they're making, how much the dogs are being sold. We're posting these pictures of these pretty dogs standing in grass and on logs and all this other stuff. People say, ooh, I want to create that. I want to breed that. I can do it. And they've never even owned a dog before. Next thing you know, now they're a breeder. So I think we do have to do our part. I will say this, in the last 5 years, when I first got in this community, and no one was really concerned with learning. They were more concerned with what was the biggest hype that would make them the most money the quickest. Now I'm noticing over the last year, maybe 2 years, you're starting to get more people, maybe even 3, but definitely over the last 2 years, you're starting to get more people into this breed that want to learn how to do this correctly. They're not caught up in the money. They're not caught up in the show ribbons and show trophies. They want to breed a good quality dog and be known for it. So I think now is the time for those of us who have something to say, and who do understand the correct path that any breed should be going on, to really get involved, because it's not looked down on and you don't have to face the same retarded shit I used to hear when I first got involved in this community. Lucayan Bulls, I think I'm saying your name right. Lucayan Bulls said you were right, but I try to save who I can. There you go. Said I completely understand. Let's see here. Richard said, my female is in her first heat. How long will she bleed? It's going to last about 10 to 14 days. And then you won't have to clean no more. But you can get diapers for the dogs. I've never done it. My wife, she swears every heat that we're going to get diapers for the dogs. I don't bring it up. Luckily, it don't come up. And by the time she's done fussing, the heat cycle's gone. So it's going to last you about 10 to 14 days. Actually, the bleeding will be probably about 7 to 10 days. The whole heat cycle itself is about a 2-week period. And then you should notice it goes away. What's up, Max? Thanks for joining in. Yeah, he's some great photos. Let's see here. What do you think of deer hounds? I love them. I do think they are becoming a little too more show affiliated and less working affiliated. I have noticed some deer hounds being bred to help create the different varieties of bull lurcher. So crossing them to American bulldogs or either to pit bulls. I've hunted with bull lurchers, but I've never hunted with a bull lurcher that was made from deer hounds, and I've never hunted with an actual deer hound itself. Let's see, got a whole art. Yeah, he does, dude. Yeah, he does. All right, cool. He said he's game. Not since the beginning, but I've been here a while. There you go. Let's see how hit that like button. Yes, hit that share and that like button. I think that all boosts like the algorithms and stuff. Let's see here. Zachariah, what's up, man? Said, hey man, I was waiting for 7 until the last 5 minutes, and then it slipped my mind and I saw something shiny. Oh well, what up, y'all? What's up, man? Thanks for joining in. King Creole says, do certain bloodlines hold these traits, and if so, which ones? I'm gonna be honest with you. The American bully, when it comes to bloodlines, is a lot of bullshit, hype, and propaganda and bully rhetoric. What I would suggest doing is focusing on the traits, matching traits. That is what's most important. I wouldn't get so much caught in the bloodlines, because what you'll end up realizing is that it's not a true bloodline. It's a popular male stud that they named the line off of, or a popular kennel that they named the line off of. So as far as holding certain traits, I gave up on bloodlines within a year of getting into the American Bully before we picked our first dog. And there's just kind of certain things I've kind of blocked my mind from. Sinatra knows about a few bloodlines. I do know that Jason Triline Lau breeds tricolor blue tries. His dogs are very consistent. He has a true bloodline. I think he's about 7, 8 generations in it, might be even more than that. But very few of these bloodlines breed true in the American Bully, especially if you breed them to a bloodline. You breed them to a scatterbred dog, popular stud may push his luck, but I will focus more on the traits that you want. Make sure those traits are passed down in that pedigree for at least 2 to 4 generations. Make sure the female that you're going to, or male that you happen to be going to, matches those traits, and go from there. But this isn't like pit bulls, cane corsos, Rottweilers, where you can, really focus on an actual bloodline. So I will focus on traits. And if you happen to notice as you're focusing on traits, a certain bloodline seems to ring true in pedigree, or what they're claiming is a bloodline or stud line or kennel line, then hit me up and let me know, because now you're going to have me curious. Zarata said, I don't want low energy. I want athletic. I feel you. I agree. I want big. I want thick bone. I want wide, but I want, purpose driven. I want an athletic dog. I want a dog that can be larger than most dogs and be more athletic than dogs of the same form. Let's see. What's up, BBK Bailey Boys Kennel? What's up? Thanks for joining in. Let's see. Zacharias said, where am I at? 5:28. So I'm about 30 minutes behind on the messages. Zacharias said, Daryl, I sent you a message on Messenger about how to find your rap before. You know what was funny? I have to go through Messenger. I'm behind on Messenger. My wife was basically like, I wouldn't do it. Just keep everything focused on dogs. But once I get through Messenger, I'll hit you up with the link so that you can see that. Let's see. Majority aren't going to care given they want the mass. Exactly. Any info you can give on BPH? Not sure what that is. So spell out BPH, and maybe you guys can educate me on that one. Let me see here. Let's see. You got a bitch with high drive. Most aren't ready for dogs like that. Very true. And as society gets softer and softer, we're seeing ourselves get further and further away from driven dogs. And it's almost looked at negatively, like some type of fear. Nicole said, in my research and conversations with other veterinary professionals, both in the US and UK, hypothyroidism is present in about 90% of thoroughbred dogs, not bulldogs exclusively. The only problem with that statement, it's impossible for it to be present. Well, unless it's able to exist without the symptoms, I don't know how it could be present in 90% of thoroughbred dogs, because I know it's not an issue with pit bulls, whether they have it or not. Amstaffs, it's not. I know maybe with golden retrievers and your non-working dogs that are from come from working dogs. So maybe, I know as the show ring breeds for a thicker, heavier dog. So maybe when you start getting to that realm, but there's no way it could be present in 90% of thoroughbred dogs. I don't think it could even possibly be present in 90% of the dogs in my neighborhood, because it's purebred dogs tend to not have that issue, at least the symptoms. So are you saying that it's present, but just the symptoms aren't showing, maybe? So that I'm not sure. Yeah, Lucanian Bulls TV has fantastic content always. Doug, to use pits in my garden. Let me see here. Trying to get caught up with the comments as quick as possible before we get to the next topic. Eric Maxwell said egg crate foam is a great uneven surface for when young pups are moving around the whelping area. Yes, it is. The crate causes that extra cushion so that it forces the pup to kind of have to move those legs and move correctly, because then it's got that dip. I didn't even think about that, but yes, egg crate foam is great to have. Betsy said, question, Bailey, side winds at times, is that her gait or should I worry? How old is Bailey? Shouldn't be too much side winding going on at this time. I would pay attention. Side winding, I know sometimes is a symptom of hip dysplasia because the dog is running fast, and then as they go to slow down, they kind of turn a little bit to make the slowing down process a little easier on the body. So that's something you may want to get checked. But it also depends on the age and the growth of the dog. Sometimes the side winding is just because of the way the dog is growing. Bully Brad Kennels, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in. Looks like she's got just being lazy going. Seeing that could be it. So it depends on kind of the age of the dog and the development. I'm late here. What's up, John? Thanks for joining in. You got to get a video. Sometimes it could be developed habit. That is true also. It can be a habit. Just like sometimes we talk about the structure of a dog, then all of a sudden the dog moves and everything's perfect. Sometimes it's just posture. Sometimes it's just habit. A lot of crate time, basically. Crate time is a bad thing for dogs, and it does cause a lot of hip dysplasia in dogs that would have never had it. Rich Kendall said, what's over exercise? Because I let mine run and play until I see them slow down, but that can be kind of long. I would, depending on the age of the dog, I would be careful with their play. As young pups, you can let them do as they're wanting. Once they hit about that 8 weeks age, you want to give them off and on time to rest. What happens is the growth plates aren't in place. The muscles around are being built, but they're not strong. So all of a sudden the pup is playing, but those muscles and tendons also help the puppy keep things in the correct alignment until those growth plates come into place. You let the pup exercise or play roughhouse too much, what happens is those tendons, and those muscles get weak as that pup is playing, and things can go out of alignment. So a lot of it depends on the age of the pup. I would just let them do what they do as far as running and playing, because they still want them to develop the muscle. But I would have periods where you just stop them 5-10 minutes, let them rest, and then let them go ahead and re-go again. Bring them in. The other thing is, a lot of times at that young age, that's a great time to do training, do scent training, in the home, in the yard, just to get that mind working. That's one of the best times while that body is developing. But a lot of times I'm guilty of it. I get impatient. I like my dog to be jumping 10-foot walls when they're 6 weeks old. So the main thing is to basically kind of slow yourself down, slow them down, have points where they can stop, rest, because you need those muscles and those tendons to support those muscles to support the tendons and the bones and help keep them in place. And when those muscles get drained, the more the puppy's running, the weaker the muscles, the more things start to get a little bit out of whack. Start being exactly. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button. Let's see. I'll send you one. She doesn't do it all the time, but you definitely see it. Michael said, "What's good from Alabama?" Shout out to you, Michael. Thanks for joining in. Watchtower in the house. Let's see here. Bama used to do it before she was trained. Sometimes it's an issue. Sometimes it's a developed habit. Exactly. Good, John. Let's see here. Belinda, that's my boy Crunch. That boy's got a head on him too. Let's see, where are we? Have you heard of limber tail or limp tail? If I'm not mistaken, that's an issue in the tail where it kind of doesn't show the same strength as a regular tail. Almost as if the tail had gotten slammed in a door, if I'm thinking right. If I'm thinking right, then yeah, I've heard of it. I've never seen it other than coming across it actually on Facebook being questioned or whatever. The main thing with the tail is sometimes, and I know even when I was young, dogs would have a tail issue, and that tail would just be cut at that point. If there was a kink or whatever, it would just be cut. So if you had a German Shepherd, long, beautiful tail, but it had a kink, they would just cut it at that point. But it depends on how bad the kink is. And the reason is the dog uses his tail as a rudder the whole way through. From the start to the end of the tail is used as a rudder. So if the tail is off, flopping around as the dog moving, I don't believe that it necessarily throw. The dog will learn how to adjust itself for that. But at the same time, if it's flopping and moving opposite of the rest of the tail, it can cause injuries in the tail. So, but if we're talking about the same thing, because I've never dealt with it, I've been seeing a lot of luxating patella, also causing dogs to limp. I've been noticing that, and dogs having hamstring issues for some reason. Pulled hamstrings, I've been noticing a lot, and not from the dogs doing anything that's extensive. But I think a lot of it has to do with us, giving the dogs a proper diet, which usually means not overfeeding the dogs when they're young, and not letting them overdo their exercise, or not getting over exercise when they're young, whether it's because they're playing a lot or we're exercising, taking them for long walks. A lot of that kind of stuff can be bad. Ever had experience with lymphedema? Is it common? It is not common, and no, I have not had any experience with it. I haven't had a lot of issues throughout the years. All the dogs I've had, I haven't had a lot of issues, but I've always dealt with breeds that were consistently healthy. A lot of dogs being bred unhealthy started like 30 to 40 years ago. As we got away from performance and ability and temperament and more into the appearance and the aesthetics of the dog. Let's see here. Yo, second to none, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in. Check out Danny, second to none. He goes live with me and Raul and Bobby Lee York on Monday nights with QBN's YouTube channel. So definitely check that out. Danny puts a lot of shows on, so you can find him on Facebook, second to none Bullies. First off, that's his YouTube, so make sure to subscribe to that. But Danny also puts on a lot of shows, so make sure to check him out, follow him, so that you can notice, so that you'll be notified of your a lot of the shows going on, especially in the South and East Coast. We got to get Danny out here on the West. Let me see. They need to make a bare butt. What are you talking about, Betsy? Let's see. Danny laugh out loud. He gets behind. He talked to you like you were still here last week when you got to our. We got exactly. So where are we at? 5:45, and so I'm 20 minutes behind. All right, let's get to the next topic. So, which was, can you give a pregnant female apple cider vinegar? This is a quick one. Yes, I don't. I typically cut out all the extra things that I do for a female, as far as like any, apple cider vinegar, because I add apple cider vinegar to my dog's water, and I also add Himalayan sea salt, just a slight pinch of Himalayan sea salt to their water. I think I do their water bowls about this big. I've said it before, so I don't know how big that is or how that looks on social media. But anyway, I think I do a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. I don't even measure it anymore. I just kind of pour it in there, and I do just about a pinch of Himalayan sea salt. Himalayan sea salt gives a lot of extra minerals. Apple cider vinegar is real good for the dog's digestive system, cleaning out their gut, cleaning out the urinary tract of males and females. But on my pregnant females, I stop all that. But my understanding is that it is still good. I just stop it because I don't like anything extra. I've been doing all these things for the female until we got to this point, so I like her to be 100% natural as she goes into those pups. So I stopped giving the apple cider vinegar. But from my understanding, it is 100% still healthy for you to give to your female while she's pregnant. Dom said his topic was tips and remedies for weak pups, prevention for diseases, and what's too early or too late. Damn, let me plug my phone in. What's too early or too late for first vaccine. As far as vaccine goes, most people vaccine their dogs within 4 to 6 weeks. When getting a working dog, used to like to pick the dog up within 4 to 6 weeks. And most of the people who bred them knew me, so they didn't have a problem with it. But I wanted the dog as soon as it got off the mom's nipple. And so that I could bring it into my fold, get it ready to do the things that I needed it to do. So at 4 weeks. Now, pups that I'm breeding or that I produce, I've always done their shots right at 5 to 6 weeks. I think the average breeder does it at about 6 weeks old when it comes to getting their shots. After 6 weeks old, you're starting to get a little bit late. So you want to get that shot in because they've already been off the mom's nipple at 4 weeks. They lost her best antibiotics in the first 2 days. Actually in the first 12 to 24 hours, I think it is. The mom is kicking out colostrum. That starts to fade, turns into milk. The puppy starts building its own immune system from not only the mother, but also being around other pups, and also the mother getting up, leaving the area of where she's whelping, coming back, and kind of introducing new germs to those pups. That's how their systems get strong. Then you're introducing new food at about 4 to 5 weeks old. And so therefore, they're starting to wean off. And then 2 weeks later, bam, you hit them with a shot for vaccinations because now they should be strong enough for it. Some people say 4 weeks a dog is too young and doesn't have the good enough immune system to be taking on some vaccinations. Some people say they're fine. I would suggest 5 to 6 weeks is good. 5 to 6 weeks, you're getting it done early, you're good. As far as prevention for diseases, limit where your female goes while she's nursing pups. That's one. Second thing, keeping your pups area as clean as possible. The mom will typically do a great job of that on her own. She will lick up urine. She will eat the poop. You got to remember, though, if you've got towels there, even though she ate the poop off of it, it was still there. It's not like a hard surface or dirt where she can lick it up and it goes away. She takes on the poop and the dirt, and then she just poops it out later. So what you want to pay attention to is constantly cleaning your towels, washing your towels, whatever it is you got those pups on. You want to be able to replace that, if not every day, every other day. It's going to need to be replaced. Now, because of urine, you don't have a proper way to clean up urine. It's going to need to be cleaned on a daily basis, possibly even twice a day. You're going to have to observe, see what's done, what things the mom is not able to do. A lot of times we get caught up pup pees here on a towel. We saw it happen. We let it soak in. Best thing you could do is pick up that towel and go ahead and wash it, replace it with another one. So you need lots of towels, lots of blankets, lots of sheets, until you get to the point where you're using your puppy pads. But again, I've been noticing people with newborn pups and they're on puppy pads. That is not you. Those puppies need thick things to walk on to build their body and hips and everything right. So not good for them to be on perfectly flat surfaces. So for that first 4 weeks, go ahead and deal with the cleaning. Just keep everything clean. And as far as weak pups, one of the best things as far as I'm concerned is beef liver water. Go to your local store, buy beef liver, take a skillet or a pan, pour it into the pan, blood and all, pour water in there, and you want to heat it up on, I don't know, I'd say like medium heat. You just want that water to start boiling, and you only want the water to be just barely over covering. Make sure the liver is spread out and as flat as possible in there, and then let the water just barely cover the liver, and then turn that heat up. You want it to boil, the water to boil. Remember, you're not cooking the liver. So you just want it to boil for about 5 minutes. And what it's going to do is it's going to draw out a lot of iron and minerals from that beef liver and into that blood. So it's kind of cooking the blood a little bit because it's boiling, kind of sterilizing the blood. And at the same time, you're pulling from it. From that point, you want to take that pup. If you notice you got fading pups, they're weak, newborn pups, You're gonna take damn it, an eyedropper, like just like this, and you're gonna you want to do about 4 drops on the pups, in the pup's mouth, on its tongue, in its mouth, and you want to do that every 2 hours. Okay, 4 drops every 2 hours for about 12 hours. So that means you got to wake up. If you got fading pups, you got to stay awake. You figure you're supposed to be feeding them about every 2 hours anyway, especially if you're bottling them. So and they're not nursing off a mom. And so every 2 hours, you want to be up 4 drops, just 4 little drops to the pup. Doesn't matter what breed it is. None of that matters. The size of the pup, 4 drops is all you need. None of that matters. You want to do that every 2 hours for 12 hours. After that 12-hour period, you want to do it every 4 hours until you notice that the pup is stable. Remember, you're going to be feeding also in between this, but sometimes those pups get weak and they just won't latch onto the nipple. That's going to be one of your clues. Start making sure you give it that beef liver water to help it. You will notice sometimes if pups aren't done correctly, not getting enough sugar, which depends on how you make your formulas. That's another issue where you see them kind of stiff freeze up. Basically preparing to die, they lock up. Just make sure you rub them, get them going, and you'll see them loosen back up and they'll be good. But beef liver water is one of the best things that you can do. So that's how you make it. Keep that on hand as soon as you know you have a female that is pregnant. Next topic. If the shows aren't hold on, let me get back to the comments. We didn't have as many topics this week as we did last week. Let me see. Looks like Belinda and Betsy got their own party going. Yes, I know. Let me see here. Generation X, millennials, Generation Z. If we do our part moving on, they follow or get left behind. Exactly. My thing is, I love me to say, I love when I see somebody and they're just like, I'm out the bully game. I'm out of dog breeding, selling all my dogs, blah, blah, blah. I think it's great. I think there needs to be less breeders. I love when I hear these breeders who sit at the top of the bully pyramid scam. And the game's oversaturated. No, it's not. You're just running out of young breeders, new breeders to sell dogs to. Because half the world don't even know these dogs exist. So I personally think when I hear people complain about the community, I think it's great. Everything that can possibly cause people to stop breeding, I think is great. I don't care what breed it is. I just think there's too many breeders that have money, so they think they can breed, that didn't plan it right, just got into breeding, don't know dogs they plan on breeding. So I think it's great when people get out the game. It makes it easier for the rest of us, and it causes less confusion for those who are trying to learn. Let's see. I'm not sure what rabbit hole you talk about. Let me see. What other comments? I think my collections are around 30. Wow, that's crazy, dude. So you know what? Yeah, that's crazy. We're gonna talk about that. You know what? I'm gonna give you a call because I think it would be dope to be in a position to show some of your picks, which I think I can do on StreamYard. I've done it before. So we're gonna work something dope out. And let's aim it next Tuesday, Sinatra. Let me know if that's good. I'm gonna hit you up and we'll talk about it. I have pics on my laptop that's down at least another 2K on there. That's crazy. That's dope though. For Bullies, you use the old school cloth baby diapers on females and heat works great, and wash and use again. I didn't even think about using cloth diapers. I didn't even think about that. But that makes sense, and it would, because my wife is ready to pay $100 for 2 diapers that are disposable, because they're for dogs. So that's actually a good idea, and I never thought about that. That's actually a great idea. So what do you? Okay, but hold on. The tail, is it because the cloth diaper you're able to boom, boom? Are you able to do it in a way that the tail can stick out, or are you having to cut a hole in it? That would be my only confusion with it. How are you doing the cloth diaper so that the tail extends? How do you deal with reactive pit bull discipline and training? If you've got a dog that is reactive, the other thing is, what do you mean by reactive? You're talking about aggression with you. Be a little more clear. I will let you know my answer is going to be general. And when I do consultations, they're $50 a phone call. When I do a consultation, I go into more depth. I'll also be asking you to do something so that I can see the dog doing what it's doing, so I can also tell what it is you're doing. So I will give you basics in a live, but I'm not gonna give you much detail due to I don't want somebody listening and then they go out and then they get themselves or their dog hurt. But if a dog is reactive, the best way to think about it is there's some situation that's causing that dog to react. On this live, only you and that dog know it. So the opportunity for you is to figure out that situation and how do you, your choices are either to teach the dog to deal with that situation without being reactive or avoid that situation. And if the dog's being aggressive to you, the last thing is avoidance, because now you got a dog that is going to get older and take on a dominant display because of your reaction to it being reactive. So hit me with a little more detail in the comments. But for if it's you're talking about reactive aggression, that is more of a consultation thing, and I prefer not to go into detail on a live with that, because the next thing you know, you got somebody trying for something that they think is similar to your situation and it's not. So really, I need to know what drives you're looking at that are causing, what drives are being triggered by this reaction, so that we know. And then I also need to be able to see, which is what I would have you do with your phone, unless you can explain it to me by phone, so that I kind of know the threshold before this reaction, this trigger takes place. But other than that, I try to avoid doing those type behavioral type things on the lives, due to the fact that I don't want somebody getting injured if it is dealing with aggression. But I can fix it, so you just got to let me know. A bit stingy on this topic because people end up doing wrong with what you share. Yeah, I gotta be. Thrower, hi, Peter North here. What's up, Peter? What is he at? Good looking honky. You guys come out of nowhere. He said he is here, an adult film star. I have a poodle that absolutely fights pit bulls. Craziest shit I've ever seen. Great stream. Thanks, Peter North. What's up, Peter North? The porn star. Stop letting your poodle beat up on pit bulls. That's going to be the main thing. Pit bulls aren't like they used to be, so your poodle might be whooping up on them. But what type poodle do you got? I'm assuming if they're beating up pit bulls, I'm assuming you got a standard. As far as bloodlines, what to add? Tyler, what type? UKC style or ADBA? The only non-working dog I've ever seen is Nancy. I got to start reading myself first and then reading aloud. Let me see here. Raising Bars Bully said BPH, it is benign prostatic hyperplasia. No, I've never dealt with it. Enlarged prostate. This is when we see blood when taking semen from a male infected. Just wondering if you had any info on keeping your males healthy. I would say this. Sometimes blood from taking semen from the males comes from is a natural thing. It also comes from us not using, people are doing pulling by hand, basically jacking the dog off to pull the semen, and you can strain it and blood can get in that way. If it's prostatic, then one thing, like I said, the urinary tract, apple cider vinegar is great for it. If the dog already has it, I don't know what you do for it other than taking it to the vet. I don't know whether that is a genetic thing or an environmental thing. I don't know much about that. So I know with prosthetic issues, a lot of times they can be a environmental issue. So sometimes genetic. So there, I really don't know enough about it to give you an answer. But as far as keeping the male, their reproductive organs and everything healthy, apple cider vinegar is a great assistance. Um, what else? You're typically involving various fruits, strawberries, blueberries, apples, carrots. A mixture of diet typically helps with the dog. And the reason is a lot of times we get so glued into um, um, I saw that, Betsy. A lot of times we get so stuck on feeding one thing that we don't give the dogs enough variety in what they eat. So you can feed kibble, but the best thing to do is add to it. Most I feed kibble on a daily basis. And then Monday, Wednesday, then, well, it kind of switches on what I think the dog needs. But every other day I switch it up. So they get kibble with fruits and veggies. Then they get kibble with protein, which could be raw ground beef. It's definitely going to be sardines, but then it can also be raw ground beef, boiled chicken, um, chicken gizzards. I will give beef liver every now and then to the dogs just to help them get that boost in their system and that boost of energy that typically comes with it from the iron. So I switch it every other day. So one day is fruit and veggie day. The next day is protein day. And then on Sundays, I will go ahead and fast the dog, 24 hours of no eating. Also, people don't like it, but we need to stop feeding our dogs multiple times in a day. Dog only needs to eat once a day. Once they hit a year old, they only need to eat once a day. My feeding regimen, and I've never had a dog die like of natural causes earlier than I want to say 14, but I've had dogs live up to 17, 16, 15, no problem. Floyd's running around here at 15 right now. So I think we don't give enough variety in the food, and I don't think we feed like a dog would naturally eat. You got to remember, this is an animal that is used to running because it's starving, hasn't eaten in a week, runs, uses up all this energy, and still fails to catch what it's after. That's the life of a predator. They only eat 1 out of 7 to 10 attempts at making a kill. So I think we'll notice our dogs being healthier when we stop overfeeding them. So once a pup is 8 weeks old, I feed them 3 times a day. At 6 months, I feed them 2 times a day. At 1 year, I feed them once a day. I start fasting at 6 months. So rather than them eating 2 times a day on Sunday, they'll only eat once a day. Once they hit a year, on Sunday, they will only eat no, actually I start fasting at 8 weeks. So at 8 weeks they eat 3 times a day, but on Sunday they'll only eat twice. Then at 6 months they eat 2 times a day, but on Sunday they'll only eat once. And at 1 year old, they only eat once a day, and on Sunday they do not eat at all. So if I feed them on 5 p.m. Saturday, come Sunday, they don't eat at all, and then come 5 p.m. Monday, they will get to eat. The other thing is we don't have to have our dogs on these fixed schedules. You know, they should eat within your schedule, however your job is. You feel like coming home, relaxing, whatever it is you do. That's when you feel like feeding your dog. That's when your dog should eat. And on a consistent basis, they should be fed around a 2-hour range of that. They don't need to eat at 5 p.m. every day. They can eat at 7. They can eat at 3. They don't need to eat at that same time every day. And what you'll notice is that causes them to not eat as much, or sometimes you put food out and they may not eat at all, or they eat at all. Great. Or sometimes because they didn't eat till 7, they'll eat a lot more. But this is how nature works. Nature don't feed any animal at 5 p.m. every day. So we have to get out of our kick with that. The other thing is when you feed at 5 p.m. today, but then 7 p.m. tomorrow, that 2 hour span, that dog is hungry. They become more active. They start to be little assholes and get into stuff. They start to bark at us, pick up their food bowl. It's getting that mind running. So there's nothing wrong with them eating a little bit later than what they're used to eating. So when you Sundays around here, you'll notice our dogs are running more. Now, once they get old, Floyd had a stomach issue where he was constantly throwing up. I'm boosting him back now. He's now eating twice a day, every day. There is no fasting him right now unless that stomach issue starts kicking up again. But he's starting to get his weight back on. So I'm not going to fast him. Once he gets his weight back on, I will continue feeding him on a daily basis, even though because he's 15. You know what I mean? So I'll continue feeding him on a daily basis. He's just getting less portions. Some people say, my wife is one, well, you can't do that because then Cardi Bull's not eating or Sadie's not eating, and they're hearing him eat or seeing him eat. Never worry about jealousy with dogs. Just especially if they're separate. Don't worry about jealousy with dogs. Dogs need to learn how to deal with their emotions. Same thing as humans in the last 20 years need to learn how to deal with them. So I don't do any special things for dogs and making them feel more comfortable. When it comes to XL, double XL, what would be your ideal working size weight? Male, female. Okay. Weight is not an issue in my head. Weight is based off, it's not the weight, it's the build of the dog. So you need to look at the bully standard, understand what is realistic and what is not realistic about it, and then that becomes what you need. So if you're looking at a working size dog, when the best that dog is working, that's what you'll tend to notice. So with your XL dog, an XL stops at 23 inches, 20 to 23 inches. The double XL is not a class of dog. The double XL is an XL. It's just a style of XL that is over 23 inches. So let's say the double XL style is 24 inches and up. The way I would go about it is, one is based off the breeding of the dog, the drive of the dog, and then the weight shouldn't matter. It should just be functional. So I would say this: King is a 26.5-inch dog. He is on average around 165 pounds. Now, the average bully breeder would have King around 175 to 180 pounds. When females are in heat, King stops eating, his weight drops to about 155 pounds. That's when we like taking pictures of him. But if King were working, I would probably drop his weight to that 150 pounds. Floyd in his prime was about 65 pounds. When working, I would have his weight down to about 55 pounds. He would drop about 10 pounds. Kayla, I would drop. She was a bull lurcher, pit bull, greyhound mix. She ranged 75. She was average around 75 pounds. When working, I would have her right around 60 pounds, actually. She would drop about 15 pounds. Fox was a Jack Russell, extremely short, small Jack Russell. Her weight ranged from 15 to 17 pounds. If I knew we were getting ready to go hunting, her weight would drop to about 12, 13 pounds. If we're talking bullies, closest example I could give would be my Rottweiler. I don't know his height. He ranged 140 up to 147 pounds. Every now and then he'd hit 150. He was a big boy. So at 145, every now and then we would take him hunting. When we knew we were going to do that, I would drop his weight down to about 135, at lowest 127. 127, I remember specifically. So hopefully that kind of gives you a range of what I'm talking about. And I think the Rottweiler would probably be the closest. But naturally, at home, just eating my mama's cooking and kibble, he was around 145, 147. Getting ready to take him, do any type of work, his weight, I would drop him down. And his weight through conditioning would end up being anywhere from 127 to 135. And he could run forever at that weight. So hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of how to look at it. Like I say, I would never focus on the weight other than using it as a marker. So I would condition him, use through that process. After about a week or two, I would then see where his weight was at. Usually I like to start conditioning about 2 months ahead of time, whatever the event is going to be, and I'll bring him down. Pit bulls, 10, 15 pounds I drop. Yeah, 10, 15 pounds I would drop, but I kind of kept them lean anyway, similar to Floyd. I've always kept him lean. So it depends on the dog, depends on the breed, what you're doing. I got a bitch that can't get milked until I get that goat out my pocket. I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, what's his name? Good looking GL. That's what your name's gonna be. Get back. Don't get too comfortable in here, because I will block you, and that'll be it. So make sure when you say things, I know what you're talking about. Devin B said how to measure your dog the correct way. Measure in height, I'm assuming you're saying. You want to stop at the withers. So go straight from the ground to the withers. So not the head, not the neck, right? Kind of like where the back of the neck and the back are kind of meeting. That's where the withers are. And that's how you want to judge the measurement of the dog. Now, if you're talking about harnesses, they should come with an instruction because it depends on how your harness is built. Let me see. Did you go to the store, Jazz? Who was that, Mom or Jazz? Oh, Jazz. Did you go to the store? Oh, you did? You gave it to your mom? Okay. Where are you going? Um, let's see here. I have a pregnant female that is eating me out of house and home, tired of her. Hey, that's what dogs are here for, though. That is what they're here for. If you're going to go with a commercial product for weak pups, Canine Red Cell has never let me down. I've never used it, but I've heard that it is a great product. Now, what I notice is I can't find it, at least here at the pet store. I have to get it at our local feed store. They don't have it at our pet store, and I don't think I've ever looked at at PetSmart or any of the pet stores. I don't think I've looked at Tractor Supply. I know our feed store has it. My dog's tail was limp after an intense workout for like 4 days. The tail was weak, and he didn't even want to lift it. I let him rest for a week, and now he seems fine. See, that's why I'm not sure what you mean by limp tail, because some people are called limp tail when it's kind of limp, but it basically is from a kink. Now, if you're talking about limp tail, meaning you were conditioning the dog was exercising, the dog was wagging his tail extremely hard, and the tail just kind of is tired out, that's a different thing. I've never dealt with that one, though. John Stevens said, I also use apple cider vinegar to all my chickens, multiple different breeds. I'm diehard on it. I raise meat birds for my dogs. No hormones, steroids, etc. 100% the way God intended. There you go. And you don't find a lot of people doing that. Here's my question to you, though. Do you have issues with chickens? And my wife grew up near a chicken farm. She always talked about how dirty it was. And when we moved, chickens kind of came up. We know we want to get some goats, a couple. And they're not even going to be real goats. They're going to be things that she thinks is cute goats. And we know, we kind of talked about chickens, but then she's kind of like, no, we don't really need to do that. So let me know if you've had or heard of any issues with chickens, diseases, things like that. Because I've had other people tell me that you don't really want chickens around, but I don't know. Let's see, Eric, you have to be careful with red cell and always make sure it's canine red cell, not horse. Good point. One night I was drunk and had to use the bathroom with the pups. Mom, help me. Yeah, I don't know. Lincoln took me out last week and I landed on his tail. It went limp for like 4 days. So now, see, that's more of an injury. Yeah, I got to use it sparingly. Let's see. Thanks for the share. It was quite a scare in the beginning. All is good now, though. There you go. Red cell is good for hunting dogs for sure, but I personally wouldn't give it to puppies or the American Bully, honestly. I don't see a reason to give it to American Bullies. Hunting dogs, working dogs is great, especially dogs that's got to use a lot of stamina before getting into physical contact with whatever the prey is. Boar hunting, perfect. I think red cell is great. So when they don't rebound, then it's a vet visit and can lead to crop. There you go. Can you do this? Can you do this if the pup isn't weak? Not sure. I'm behind you guys. You're at 6:12. That was 6:12. So I'm about 20 minutes behind you guys. So I'm not sure what you're talking about. If you're talking about the beef liver, I wouldn't do it if the pup's not weak. If the pup's doing good, I wouldn't worry about doing it. Now, if let's say you got a dog that's sick, like an older dog, they get sick, they get weak. Beef liver water is great for older dogs. I give them about, I'm not even going to count it, but you take a baby syringe, I'll give them about half of the, especially the skinny ones, I'll give them about half of that of beef liver water just to get them up and going again. But if it's a pup and they're not weak, I wouldn't worry about doing it. Don't even worry about doing it. That means they're doing fine. It's just more for emergencies. Will it hurt them to do it? No, but I wouldn't worry about doing it. It is scary. It's all dead and ish. Looks all broken. Daryl, that pup I bought that was so malnourished by the time it got to me, that got those pockets on elbows, they were going down. So they are going down. Okay, so cool. I was wondering about that. I meant to hit you up about that. I was wondering about that. Eric Maxwell said, I've never had issues using it on APBTs or bullies. It was different. It was definitely due to him really absorbing nutrition. So it just wasn't, the nutrition wasn't getting absorbed right and it's filling up in the wrong places. Growing too fast, and even though I tried not to let him gain and grow too fast. See, and remember I told you, again, she was a bull lurcher. She was probably about 9 years old, and then all of a sudden she got a growth. And my thing, anytime I see something wrong, is I'll fast. I fasted her 2 days. It went away and never came back. So, but it was just like this weird swelling. And I remember telling myself, all right, I'm gonna fast her. I'm gonna keep looking at it, keep her from running around too much. And if it's not going, doesn't go away, then I'll look at it, decide whether it needs to be lanced or whether I need to take her to a vet. And it ended up going away, never came back. What's good? What's good? CPT Bullies. Eric, I had an endless supply. Let's see. I bought cloth dog diapers that have Velcro and are washable. There's a hole for her tail. Okay, so they're dog diapers. So that way you can reuse them. Perfect. I'm gonna have to check into those. If my wife forces me to. And you say they're on Amazon. Cool. I didn't know that. They make doggy diapers cloth. See, I've never noticed the cloth ones. But you know what? I've only seen doggy diapers on the internet or walking past them at like a pet store. Exactly. That's what I was saying, not everyone meant for the journey. Weed them out. The ones that follow will grow and you disappear. Your last words disappeared. Let's see. Pink polka dots. What? Thorboy is absolutely the best and easiest, cheapest dog diaper I've found yet. You can wrap around the tail or cut a hole for the tail, depending on temper of said dog. Okay, got you. Cloth diapers and toddler shorts. Cut a hole. Toddler shorts. That makes sense. But see, that's a problem too. Some of us have grown tired and ready to walk away, tired of dog abuse and pain and playing ignorance. It is, you know what though? Luckily for me, I get how seeing what we see on social media can get somebody down. Luckily for me, I've never been a part of social media until Bullies. Like I had a Facebook, my personal Facebook page, have family, friends on there, but I more talk to them through my phone. So accidentally, I was off social media for 5 years until I got into Bullies. And then next thing you know, I opened up another Facebook page and I got Instagram. So when I see things, I'm not as turned off on the community as other people. I just more look at it like, okay, what I'm seeing is a display of where we're at and we need to get ahead. So it doesn't frustrate me as much as somebody who's been on social media, the MSN boards, and has been watching this for like 10, 15 years. I've only been on social media for about 5 years because I got into the Bullies. I've said it, but I couldn't abandon ship. Exactly. Stick it out. But yes, definitely push the pyramid scheme out. It's cracking. You've been using baby style Oshkosh bibbed overalls. I've tried about everything over the years. Oshkosh overalls for the baby. I have two, John. I still get them off. All right, next topic. And where is it? Tips and remedies. Okay, so if the shows aren't competitive, so this one came from Taki Williams. If the shows aren't competitive and don't mean nothing instead of complaining about them, should more people go to fix them? I agree that I think more people need to participate in shows. I think the problem is this is a breed that started showing way too early. And I don't mean showing by the meet and greets and kicking it at the park or having barbecues where we're all bringing our dogs out. What I mean is by saying that I'm having a dog show and it's a confirmation show, not a fun show. It's a confirmation show, but we're going to award dogs with bad confirmation. That's one of the worst things the bully community has ever done, because now you can be a AKC golden retriever breeder, and because all your golden retrievers suck and you never win, you can stop breeding golden retrievers and start breeding bullies, have the same mentality and knowledge that caused you to breed terrible golden retrievers. Now you're breeding terrible bullies and you're winning, you're champing out dogs and grand champion dogs. I think that was a huge problem with the American Bully, that it should have been fun shows until we saw consistency and the ability to have perfect dogs. Not perfect, but you guys know what I mean. Um, I heard about 3 weeks ago somebody say that there are registries that will not allow judges to withhold ribbons. I was on a live with Joel, the owner of Grand Champion Shots Fired. He claims that's not true. So I'm gonna get to the bottom of that, and I'm gonna find that out, and because I want to know. I think if the registries are telling judges that you have to give out a ribbon first, second, and third, even the dogs that don't deserve it, so that they can get points to become champions or grand champions over time. That makes zero sense, because that means you could take the worst dog, and as long as they keep showing up where other dogs are worse than that dog, just make sure you go to enough shows, pay enough money to go to those shows, spend money to go to those shows, and you end up champing out a dog that never deserved it just because it got points from judges who would not withhold ribbons. So I think that's a problem. And it would be interesting to know the truth to that. But I do believe we do need to participate in shows more, unless you have the plan, which is me, on holding off on shows and actually entering dogs in shows when you know that the dog as a species is ready to be entered into its breed as a show. So but I do think we all need to be going to shows, participate as far as watching, viewing, be a viewer, be in the audience of the show. I think we all need to do that. I think, if we did that, we'd have a little more to complain about when it comes to what we see at shows. Now, that doesn't mean to fall for the bullshit. You see a dog at the show in the high rear, you see it walk on video with the high rear. And when you call it out for having a high rear, somebody says, no, if you weren't at the show, you can't talk about the dog. Bullshit. Video shows you just as much as what being at that show does. As long as you look at that, give that video 10, 15 seconds, and it's going to show me everything I need to see in that dog. Will I see it as extreme? No. Will I see it as beautiful? No. But structure is logistics with eyes. That's all it is. It's ratios and measurements. Video gives us the ratios of what we're seeing. May not give us the exact measurements, but I can tell that this dog is walking with a high rear. I can tell that the dog lacks angulation. In my almost 50 years of dealing with dogs and cameras and pictures and videos, I have yet to see a dog and be totally wrong about what I saw on video. I've been taking pictures of dogs since I was a little kid, not professional pictures, but we all know what things look like, whether it's a cow. You take a picture of a calculator, you'll recognize it when you see that calculator in person. Same thing with dogs. So don't be fooled by these people that tell you that bullshit and you got to be there. If you can see it in video, chances are it's going to be there in real life. 99.9% chance it'll be there in real life. Now, what I wouldn't do is judge a dog as far as who should have won, things like that. And all I've ever seen of the dogs is video. That's a little different. But as far as seeing a dog on video is saying a fault or a flaw that it has, yeah, you can tell that by video. So don't fall for that BS that people who like to go to shows will throw out there. As far as the topic, which that we're on, I do think we need to participate in shows, but I think the shows are being used to credit dogs that should not be credited so that people can charge more money for dogs that really aren't worth or don't have that value. You know, I think the shows are competitive because so many dogs are flawed and have flaws that wouldn't make it in any other shows. I wouldn't say the show means nothing if the dog deserves the win. That's one thing I will say with that topic. If the dog deserves the win, then the show means everything. But if a dog is winning shows with weak pasterns, high rears, cowhawk, stiff stifles, that's a problem. It's a huge problem. Makes no sense. I can understand with it being a new breed and maybe it's just a little cowhawk, but a high rear, weak pasterns that you could have been developing, even though it's genetic weak pasterns, you could have been taking the time to develop them. That's a problem. No dog should be winning championships or winning first, second, or third place. No dog should walk in a show and walk out of that show with points. Weak pasterns, high rears, extreme cowhawk, things like that. That to me, that's crazy. But I do think we all need to participate in shows so we can call out the things that we see. This dog is better, but even though I've never seen this person on Facebook and he lost to this person who's popular on Facebook, I think we need to be there to call these things out, put more pressure on judges, registries, and I do believe that we have the right to speak on that. I'll speak on things because I know dogs. You can tell me I don't go to shows, so therefore I don't have the right. I'm always feel I have the right because I have a good understanding of dogs. At the same time, when it comes to a registry telling judges they have to give points to dogs, even if the dogs don't deserve it, just because they showed up and happened to be the best three there, I think that's just kind of a 2 + 2 = 4 thing. Common sense tells you that that doesn't make sense. So I'm going to look into finding out if that is true. Next topic, which we're going to blend into the last topic. Belinda stated, when is it time to move on from breed type versus structure and leave people behind and start creating? to breed old or reintroduce quality. We're going to blend that with the topic of breed type versus structure. Which should come first? Most say breed type. Are they wrong? When you go into the American Bully, now here's the part that everybody knew was going to be controversial. Here's the part where the bully community's gone. I'll be, for about another week, I'll be having people in your inbox bad mouthing me, people making lives. They'll probably won't start tonight because these lives are always long. That's the other thing I love about these lives. When they hate what I say, they don't do it that evening because we do these lives for like 3 hours. They do it the next day. But here, let's just speak the truth. And the truth as common sense would leave it. Structure has to come before breed type. There makes no sense that we have a breed that is 30 years old and still has structural issues. We're not just talking flaws, breed flaws. We're talking species flaws. That makes zero sense. To give you an example, I've never bought a dog with major flaws, and yet I never cared about flaws. I've never owned a dog with a high rear, and yet I never cared about a high rear. I've never owned a dog with weak pasterns, and yet I never cared about weak pasterns. I've never owned a dog with splayed toes, and I've never cared about splayed toes. Floyd is here. Floyd is 15 years old, and his conformation is better than, I'm going to go ahead and say it, every single grand champion American bully. Yeah, Floyd he wasn't bred for that. He's just bred by an old school breeder for catch work. That's it. But his conformation is better, especially when he was young. Better than every grand champion that I've seen a picture of. Floyd's conformation in pictures is better than every grand champion I've seen a picture of. Because there's always something that the species of dog is not supposed to have, like a high rear, weak passion, slight sway back, slight roach back, stiff stifles. These things aren't supposed to be in dogs. So for them to be in this breed, what does that mean? It means at some point, somebody said they want a large head compared to body. That's breed type. They want bone compared to size. That's breed type. They want the dog to be compact compared to height. That's breed type. They want the dog to have extreme jaw muscles compared to the average dog of that size with that size head. What are we talking about? That's breed type. All these things are breed type. And guess what? The breed got breed type, but the structure is fucked up. When you breed most breeds, you automatically get breed type because those breeds have been here forever. When you breed most breeds, you automatically get decent structure because those breeds have been bred by knowledgeable breeders that usually were working the dogs. Then the dogs ended up in the show ring and in the pet homes, and things slowly went to shit, but it was slow. At least the show community was still judging the dog by the conformation. They don't start falling apart to where they all of a sudden want something new in the show ring, which happens to every breed. And then that breed starts going downhill and the dog becomes less functional, slightly dumber, etc. When you get people who are just breeding for pet homes, it's kind of the same thing as the show ring. They're just breeding for pretty dogs. Pet home people, some may do a little bit more though. Pet home breeders may do a little bit more though with their dog than the average show breeder. But when it's all said and done, the working community is what established most of the breeds that we see today. So it tends to not be an issue. All of a sudden, the American Bully decided we're going to take working dogs, we're going to slap them all together, and staff, various bulldogs, various mastiffs. We're going to slap them together and we're going to create this look that's supposed to be similar to a pit bull. Now we're creating a look that is similar to an English bulldog with a tail, cropped ears, and a muzzle. So what happens is this guy says, I saw a dog at Venice Beach, look like a big, huge pit bull. I'm going to take my pit bull and I'm going to breed it to something that makes it look big. What should I breed it to? A Rottweiler. You know what? My cousin has a Rottweiler. I'll breed it to that. Rottweilers tore back, high rear, stiff stifles, whatever it may be. And you happen to go to the one Rottweiler in the neighborhood that looks terrible because that was your closest friend, or that's the person that charged you the least. So all of a sudden, the pups are born. They've got some tri markings, and you got that Rottweiler head, but kind of a pit bullish look. Well, that's what happened. They didn't breed to the best. When most breeds were created, they were created for a purpose. So you took the this breed that was bred for speed improved itself. This breed that was bred for fighting improved itself. This breed that was bred for guarding improved itself. And you took the best of the best and you put them together to create a new breed. And you got great mind, you got great body, you got great ability. Even though it may not be as able as the breeds used at doing what they're doing. When it comes to the American Bully, these dudes was just grabbing whatever they had the best access to, especially when you're talking about a lot of the Gotti line breeders and when Razor's Edge met Gotti line. They were grabbing the closest thing they could get. And therefore, here we are 30 years later, still breeding these flaws. A lot of these dogs have breed type, but they don't have the structure. And now the structure is breeding harder and harder to breed out. We all have to admit, most of the people we know in the bully community, if they've got high rear, that they need to get rid of. So they need to go to this dog. But this dog over here has got a huge head and bone that they're looking at that they think will help them win in the show ring. Who are they going to go to? They're going to go to this dog with bone and everything. You'll see people saying they've got a female with a high rear. They're about to do a breeding to a male with high rear. And the first thing, this breeding is going to be fired. You're going to get dome out of this breeding. You got a dog that in this community that can barely breathe in the XL community. I mean, as soon as he comes out the kennel, he's panting automatically. And a grip of people paid big money to breed to this dog because he was going to give them bone and dome and all the other things that they're looking for in the community. So I do believe confirmation is first. And I believe the soon as people are willing to say, you know what, got size, but these are the corrections I need to make in my yard, I'm going to go ahead and breed to this leaner dog. I'm going to go ahead and get a dog off of Erica Ross who hunts, who does catch work with her dogs. Or I'm going to go ahead and just breed to a leaner dog. You don't even have to be used for nothing. But he lacks the bone, he lacks the dome, but his structure is great. Then this breed will do better. Here's the problem. What people do to make up for that is they say, well, I'll just breed my XL to a standard to help get better conformation. Bullshit. Because these standards be having the same problems as XLs when it comes to conformation issue. They have more breed type, but they have the same conformation issues as the XLs. Or they'll say, well, that's why we have the classic class. But the classic class is no longer what used to be the classic class. The classic class has become the old standard class, and the standard class is slowly becoming the extreme class. So these aren't the same classics. So again, even though you're still going to a dog that is less am staff and more bulldog to fix it, in my opinion, you'd be better off finding that American bully that is lean, that people say doesn't have breed type. Breed to that, get the pups off of that correct flaw that lack flaws, and maybe even do another one, and then bring it back to your breeding to get the size and the things that you need. Structure in the dog world has always come first. As we've talked about before, the formula for breeding is form follows function, function follows purpose, purpose follows the breeder. So even if you have not given a purpose to your breedings, the dog that you are creating, you still need to do what's right. So if your purpose is just the show ring or just to make money, then off of good dogs, then that form and that function has to be a factor. Because if you're just trying to go from purpose as the show ring to form, that's where it fails. Function has to be in between there for the dogs to be done right. Function means you're going to have that proper conformation. Not that a dog with lack of angulation can't outrun a whole bunch of dogs with good angulation. It can. But the proper angulation gives that dog a little bit of the suspension it needs to carry on for long periods. So if you look at it that way, structure has to come first when you're not breeding for a purpose. Because most breeds were created, I need this job to get done. And in order for that job to get done, the dog is going to have a certain temperament, a certain ability, and a certain look. And then you start breeding dogs that have that, and eventually different breeds that have that temperament, that look, that ability, and then eventually a new breed is created. But we're losing focus on that when we stop breeding for a actual purpose. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me because I did not hear this. Come on. Hello? Hello? Can you guys hear me? All right, I think you can. Hold on. Let me turn this up and see if I can hear it. Let's see. Can you guys hear me? Yep, you can hear me because I can hear myself. All right, so I think, oh, Jazz, can you close the sliding glass door, please? But so structure comes first. Then you get, and that is why we have breed type now and bad structure, and it's difficult to breed it out because what's going to end up happening is we're going to end up breeding in breed type, blood's getting thicker, and now we're locking in the bad structure of dogs. So at some point, we have to fix the issues in our yard. Hopefully we pick dogs with breed type. Now it's time to fix the issues and then get back to breed type and establish this as a true and respected breed. As far as Belinda, when she said, when is it time to move on from breed type versus structure? I don't think we can until they're both fixed. A lot of dogs lack breed type. A lot of dogs lack structure. And leave people behind and start creating. I think as a community, it's going to be hard to leave people behind because of the internet. You know what I mean? The internet, those dogs that will be left behind are still posted on the internet as great dogs. They're still winning in the show ring as great dogs, even though you know they're not. I know they're not. But, and then other breeders of other breeds know they're not. So they look down on us the minute they say, you know, you breed American bullies. So it just needs to get fixed. And I think that's what we need to look at. Other than that, that's the last topic. I'm going to go through the comments and see what y'all are up to. And where am I? I'm at 6:26, so I'm about 30 minutes behind. I've been kind of hanging in there today. Now I just keep her separate and bring in a crate while letting others out. It's also illegal here to leave a bitch in heat outside other than to potty. That makes sense. What can help with patches and coat? One of my favorite things to do is first fast to help boost the immune system of the dog. Then, because typically it's an allergy issue. One of the best things you can do, is, wait a minute, what's going, there we go. All right, why is this wire always getting crossed? One of the best things that you can do is get, I have a thing of it right here, new stock. And the thing I like about new stock is it's very strong, stinks like shit, but it's very strong. You put it on, I don't remember if it's 3 days, every 3 days or every 4 days. I think it's every 3 days you put it on. But what I like about that is that means in between, Mikey, close that sliding door. In between there, you can put coconut oil in the same spot. And that's why I like using it. So that means, so let's say I use it Monday, I put the new stock on. And new stock is great for healing, even small cuts, things like that. But it really gives the coat a boost in coming back. So Monday I can put new stock on, and then you're not going to put it back on again until Thursday. So that means Tuesday, and Wednesday. Now I'm putting coconut oil in, and coconut is great in doing the same thing, cleaning, keeping it clean, and also helping with the healing. Let me see here. I feed every other day for my big dogs. You know what? I know quite a few people that only feed every other day, or not every other day, 2 days in a row with lots of water. I agree. Water needs to be a staple. That should be a daily thing. I'd have to duct tape the legs. I stop twice a day feeding around 6 to 8 months, depending on size. Exactly. Let's see. Feeding once a day. What are the pros and cons of feeding in the morning or at night instead? I like the dog to go the majority of the day without eating. That way the dog is more active. Then during the evening, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 o'clock, sometime around there, you feed the dog, which leaves enough time for the dog, a couple hours for the dog to still run out around. To me, 5 o'clock is one of the best times. And then you vary from there, anywhere from 3 to 7 from there. But 5 o'clock, it's still light outside. The dogs are running around. They're doing their thing. You can still take them for walks, exercise them. I wouldn't be doing any conditioning after eating, but as far as general play, things like that, that is one of the best. That's one of the things. So I prefer to feed in the PM, towards the evening, not in the morning. Let's see here. Let's see. Pitbull Bell says I fast once a week, over a year old. Yep, same here. Richards, today my boy first time eating once he. Oh, they're gonna be pissed. They're gonna be they're gonna be so confused. After a while, they do learn from it, and they do learn and they get used to it. They get to the fact where it's like, okay, this is that day that I'm not eating, and then they kind of settle down. But it takes a while. Absolutely, my girl. Let's see here. I don't schedule my dog's eating time. I feed them all different times. That's good. As long as they're still towards the evening, I think that's best. And I think the time should vary. Yeah, right. Tell my Bailey it's not 4 o'clock. Some are just not going to stand for diapers and claws. They're fucking dogs. Exactly. I agree 100%. Some dogs just aren't going to deal with it. Now, I've had dogs that we could put any type of clothing on, and they were perfectly fine. I've had dogs that if you put something on them, they just go straight into to depression. My Jack Russell was that way. If you put clothes on her, and as soon as you turned her back, she was using that long muzzle to try to peel it off. Floyd used to go straight into depression, and we would be putting a cut vest on him. He hated cut vests. PBP Finest said I tried feeding on a schedule and it's a headache. I mean, have a schedule for you, but it don't have to be like on an alarm. You know what I mean? If the dog's hungry because this is his normal feeding time, it can still wait an hour. It doesn't have a schedule for you where about this time is when I'll be feeding the dog, and then that's that. Daylight savings high every 12 hours or death to all people. Exactly. I have a different schedule for mine as long as they get fed and fasted. I'm more scheduled with pups on twice a day. Yeah, I am more scheduled with the pups. Once they get to the point where I'm only feeding them once a day, it's kind of, they'll eat within that 2-hour gap period. Let's see. I was thinking 150 to 155. Do you feel dog working out at lighter weight gets better results? I'm assuming when you say dog working out, you're just talking about exercise, general exercise, or conditioning. And yes, it is better at a lighter weight. If your dog, and yes, you'll get more better results. I often look at show breeders and dogs and, you know, the dogs that are grand champions. And I look at the dogs, and one of the things I always realize is if they exercise that dog on a regular basis, and then 2 months before the show, started conditioning that dog, letting it get leaner, getting more muscle. And then about 1 to 2 weeks, and they'd have to experiment, but 1 to 2 weeks before the show, maybe 2 weeks before the show, all of a sudden increase the dog's food intake and just start taking it for regular walks. No more conditioning, just regular walks. That muscle layer, that fat layer, that sitting over that muscle that the dog has gained, because that muscle is not going to go away in 2 weeks. That fat can come in 2 weeks. Will make the dog so much more impressive. Where you could tell what they're doing is they're just doing like regular walks and probably increasing the food intake. But a lot of these dogs, they're coming down straight towards the camera, and you just see all this jiggle in the chest, and that's terrible. It shouldn't be that way. Let's see here, but I think that's the way it should be done. Definitely. Now, if you do have a heavy dog, start feeding it a little less so that you can drop the weight faster. Start exercising it so the weight drops faster. Once the weight gets to where about you want it, you can tell it's noticeable. Then go back to his normal feeding amount and keep the exercise regimen at the same. Let's see here. G Money says, starting a program, got a male and female pup. Any advice? Focus on the traits. You know, those traits that are consistent in their pedigree are what will match, and those are the traits you'll be locking in by breeding those two dogs together. Next, when it comes to traits, are the negative traits. You got what flaws does the dog have? You know, and with them both being pups, you want let her develop till she's about 2, right about a year and a half. You'll start to see the male, so you figure he's going to be about 2 before you breed them together. Look at their flaws, and before you breed them, don't commit to breeding them. You might in 2 years decide, you know what, they both have the exact same small head, or they both have the exact same easty westy. That doesn't mean breed them. That means you need to find a new dog that's going to be to replace one of them. Another thing, let's say you have slight flaws. Then at that point, what I would do is and they both have that slight flaw. Then what you want to do is immediately, before you breed them, start finding the dog that you know you're going to breed your pup to. So let's say you've got a male and a female, they both have slight easty westy. Then one also has a high rear and one has sway back. Sway back. So then you know that chances are you're going to end up slight easty westy in that litter. You want to grab the pups that have the least amount of easty westy, and one that has high rear, but the male has a high rear, the female has a sway back. You're going to want to find that pup that neither has the sway back, neither has the high rear, but it's more than likely going to have some easty westy. You just want to get the least amount. What you are trying to prevent is keeping the pups that now have high rear, sway back, plus easty westy. And if you look at it that way, that's how you're going to go. So no color until you know you've got perfection. Color's not a factor. So now let's say the pup you pick has slight easty westy. You know you almost kind of locked it in because you bred 2 dogs with easty westy, meaning that the front feet are going 2 separate directions. And you also got the pup that has slight high rear. Didn't end up with the sway back of the mom, but it's got the slight high rear of the dad. Now you know you need to breed to a dog that has straight feet and a level rear. To give it an added advantage, you want that dog to also have good angulation to help fix and level out that rear. So, because you'll have some dogs that have bad angulation, but still have a level rear. So you're gonna want a dog that has both to help to give double impact on keeping that rear level, and then you keep making the best picks from there. And that's all. That's all you're gonna be doing. But you got 2 pups. Start looking at the flaws in them. Start studying the flaws and how to go about getting rid of them. And you've already picked your male, your female. I'm already assuming that that's who you're going to be breeding. So when they hit 2 years old, now you've seen their temperament, what they're capable of doing mentally, what they intend on doing as far as protecting the home, places you could take them. You've seen how their temperament is as far as how they respond to different situations. You're seeing how their structure is. Now you need to pick the dog that you're going to take those pups to. Keep a male and a female off of the best male, the best female off of that, and then pick a new dog that you're going to breed either that male to or that female to that does not have those flaws that you're looking at. And just keep on going. You're just going to keep doing that over and over and over. John Stevens said, throw a bully shit. That weight sounds more like you have a baby colt instead of a bully pit. Yeah, King's a big boy. King is a huge boy and still lean at 160, 165. My male is 13 months old. He is around 120 pounds. Is he okay for his age? Depends on his height. Weight is not the issue. Height compared to weight is the issue. So it depends on his height. If he's 120 pounds, but he's 25 inches tall, then he's a lean dog. You see what I'm saying? So it depends on his height. PBP Finest Bully said, I like natural stuff for my dogs. I hate really using supplements. I don't use supplements other than, I should say I don't use a lot. You know, I will use apple cider vinegar, things like that. But I try, as far as pill type supplements, I avoid that. Every now and then you guys see me live with Robert McCormick, and he actually makes his own supplements by drying them out and then, you know, binding them and turning them into a powder. That I wouldn't mind doing because I know exactly where it's coming from. But as far as buying something in a container and saying, hey, I'm going to give this supplement to my dog, I don't ever do that, and I never have. I like using spices and different types of food for my dog. Exactly. PvP said, I like goats. Me too. We might get some. We're figuring it out. Let me see here. I want a Nigerian dwarf goat. What is that? Hold on. Now you got me running to Google. What's a Nigerian dwarf goat? Nigerian dwarf goat. Okay, the little bitty ones. So is that the majority of what we see when we see the little bitty goats? They're actually kind of cool looking. But at least you gave me a name. Now I can start focusing on looking for that. So I'm glad you said that. Where am I? First experience with bullies. I've never had any problems at all with my chickens or bullies. Okay, cool. I'm very OCD and keep everything clean as possible. Different breeds are kept different ways, though. As far as chickens, okay, got you. The Nigerian goats are nice, so are the miniature Norwegian show goats are super nice, and the miniature pygmy. All right, so y'all got me back into looking at goats. I made a mistake early on with a young pup of mine as well. It happens. You know what I mean? It happens. When I get my property, I want goats, chickens, quail fish. Oh, quail fish. Are you saying quail fish? Or chickens, quail, fish to give to my. Okay, got you. So you want goats, chickens, quail, fish, and fish to give to your dogs for the just natural food. I feel you. That and see that's dope. If we had, see, we'll be on about 2 acres, an acre and a half, 2 acres. I think if it was more than that, we would probably find kind of like a section because we got the hunting houses on one part of it. Then our house is going to be on another part. You got the barn in the middle. And so I think if it was set up different, we would probably kind of do a similar thing. Or if we had even more property a little further away, going further out, we would probably do the same thing. G Money Bag said, yeah, for the most part, I had two for 9 months, but they weren't breed quality. It is going to happen. But the cool thing is you made that decision that they weren't breed quality. John said, if you ever have any questions about chickens, you can email me at Stevens. Okay, I'll definitely do that. And matter of fact, I'll make sure to save that because I'm copying that right now and I'm going to paste it on Word. All right, cool. And I just did that. So now I'll remember to write that down. PvP said, I try to stay away from social media. Most I'm on is YouTube. You know what? YouTube, I'm on. I don't even look at YouTube as social media. Instagram, I'm not on because it's kind of boring to me. So I'm trying to force myself to get back into it. Facebook, it's got the excitement, but it's got just too much drama, too many idiots and jackasses. But it is what it is. PvP said, but Facebook is also that way because it's the easiest way to spread information. You know what I mean? It's the easiest way to get followers. It's the easiest way to spread information. Unfortunately, a lot of that information happens to be incorrect. Let's see here. The bully breed made me more social. I'll admit, I guess I could kind of say the same thing because if it wasn't for bullies, I wouldn't be doing this. I would highly suggest rewatching a lot of Daryl Thor's videos. A lot of them have knowledge to help guide you through a lot of your questions. I agree. A lot of it is in there. And I've gotten better now about putting the topics that we're going to speak on. Okay, so Bust Up said, Bully Camp said, and for you guys, check out Bust Up, Bully Camp, good dude, knows a lot about these breeds, especially the show ring. He is breeding, I want to say Trev was breeding XLs, he's now breeding standards, but definitely check him out. But he's saying that, okay, so the ABKC, they are allowed to withhold ribbons. So now I got to try to track down what live I was on and who it was that made that comment. And then we got to figure out which registries are not allowing judges to withhold show rings. What I will say is ABKC has should have withheld a lot. I just see a lot of dogs that shouldn't have gotten ribbons. Great looking dogs, but with having species flaws, they should never have gotten a ribbon. Richard Kendall said, what about working competitions like weight pull and lure coursing so people would know whose dogs and kennels are really functional? I think that's one of the biggest things we're missing out on in the bully community. I'm in the works with someone to fix that because I'm not even going to speak no on it, but I am in the works with someone. We have meetings every Thursday, and there's 4 of us that meet every Thursday, and that is something that we are working on and bringing to the table when it comes to bullies and dogs in general, is bringing back the performance aspect of it. So hopefully we'll get there. Whether we approach registries about doing it or how we go about it will be, I think that's the next thing to figure out. But for the registries, I get it. The facilities make it more difficult to have these type of events. So I get it. But hopefully we've come up with some ideas that will make it more of a thing in the bully community. Rich's Kendall said, what about working? Just read that one. Frank Gutierrez said, are dog slap meals illegal in California? From what I understand, they only become illegal if you have been charged. If you're charged with dog fighting, then the slap meal becomes an extra charge. I was always under the impression that they were illegal, but I had a bully breeder tell me that the treadmills, slap mills, only become illegal if you are convicted of dog fighting, and then those become extra charges, from what I understand. I wish they were more strict on it. They need to be. G-Money enjoy them. Let's see here. Nationals, a judge dismissed the Frenchie class. He should have done it in the bully class. But see, that's the way it should be done. But damn, because isn't nationals typically dogs that have been winning champs and grand champions? Or can non-champs and grand champions be at nationals? Because that's crazy. No camp at shows. Hold on. No. Check, check, check. Okay, I'm hearing it. And no comp at shows can be a misconception. Last year, champed out my XL male, and you have to find the right shows. Also, I was at a show in Pensacola last year where Dave Wilson personally withheld ribbons. Bam. Okay, so there we go. That's good to hear. All right. Belinda said, I think if a large group get together and go together with appropriate dogs, then we as a group could hold them more to the standard. I agree, because then that large group gets known for each other and their dogs. And then I agree with that. I think it's a great idea too. But it's very disturbing to be going every weekend and jacked up dogs taking it. Homie, hookups and favors win, not dogs. That's what I've been told. Let's see. Until more start coming back, it's a losing battle. I agree. Bell, absolutely. It's just difficult to get multiple people together to do it nowadays. It's sad, really. I agree, John. Major League Canine said no competition can be a misconception. Got to pick the right shows where your class will have okay, that's a comment from earlier. Champed out my XL last year and went to Pensacola. Show they withheld ribbons. More integrity needed amongst some of the judging. I agree. Pitbull Bell said these days, absolutely, John, because people who have show dogs got tired and said, F you to the show ring. Let me see here. Fatima said, go ahead, Floyd. Exactly. Let's see, I was part of it. I saw it go downhill. I saw the homie hookups and favors, and it was sickening, not only for me, but all the people who have great dogs, and eventually most walked away. That's what it seems like. You know, for a person getting into this late, that's what it seems like, is that it was this, and I know some people, they get their money and they move on to other things or other breeds, exotics, for instance, Frenchies. But that's what it seems like, is that, at some point it started getting a little political. The ones who stayed went with evolution and the strain. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yes, poor examples of what people used. That's WXA. That's exactly what I'm doing. Let's see here. Blockhead Kennels, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in. Okay, so you out here with me. Thanks for joining in, man. Let's see. Pitbull Bell, sacrifice a few breedings to get back to where you need to be. There's a few people who have old blood, sound dogs all around. Breed back or reintroduce, but use the best specimens. Bam. That's exactly what it's about. It's exactly what it's about. Faith Family Football said yes. Fatima Gibson said yes. Yeah, we can hear you. Okay, this is when I wasn't sure if you guys could hear me. Pitbull Bell said, but they want to get rid of True Classic. A classic can give you some of your best dogs to start back with. I agree. But as the classics become more massive, basically replacing the old standard, we're starting to lose that. I personally feel, as a breed, we just need to admit that all breeds have a classic style dog, which is just a leaner dog than what is preferred in the show ring. The Golden Retriever, the Great Dane, even the Greyhound. As thin as a Greyhound is, when it gets into the show ring, it's a more massive dog than your working Greyhound. So I think we should just acknowledge that there's a classic style to all breeds when you compare them to what's in the show ring. And typically that classic style, tends to be more functional, whether it's a working dog or not, tends to be more functional. So I don't know. I think when we say we have a classic class, it causes other breeds to laugh at us, because why do we have two classes at the same height? You know what I mean? It's like we're trying to include everything, but we don't have a classic XL. We don't have a classic pocket, which would be 6 classes. So I don't know. To me, I get why we make the classic class important. I just think with more education, we should be able to remove the classic class and get the community to understand we still need these classic style dogs, the leaner version, the athletic version of our dog, because eventually the show ring portion runs into a brick wall, like all show breeds do, and then we have to reintroduce it to something else. And if we don't have something else within our breed that comes from the working community, then guess what? We now have to turn to a brand new breed to bring back in. And then that's where the argument is going to be. We're going to close the stud books, and the argument is going to be, do we reopen the stud books and bring back in the Pit Bull, the Amstaff, the English Bulldog? What do we bring back in? The Cane Corso, the Rottweiler, what do we bring back in? So it's going to be interesting. All right. Let's see. PPB side makes new stock and coconut oil together. That sounds like a good idea. I just do it on the days that I'm not using the new stock. I use the coconut oil. Blockhead kennels. If I have paperwork on my stud and none of my females, can I register the... Okay, hold on. If I have paperwork on my stud and none on my female, can I register the pups? No, you can single register them because the stud books are still open. But you wouldn't be able to just, because they have to have paperwork on the female and male, or female with paperwork and the stud doesn't. Yeah, both dogs have to have paperwork. So if you don't have paperwork with dogs that are registered to the registry, you're gonna have to single register your puppies. They'll have to be single registered. And I'm not sure if they make you wait a certain amount of time, because single registered dogs, they have to see a picture, front, side, and back. Pitbull Bell said, yep, that's exactly what I did. That little fat mass over that muscle was so nice. Like, I bet I'll strip one down and build back up. That's kind of what we're doing. What breeds of dogs would you avoid for health concerns? The English Bulldog, the Pug. I never knew how unhealthy the King Charles Spaniel was until recently, and which is funny because I used to work in an office building that had a doctor's office in the same building, and that doctor used to show up with 2 King Charles Spaniels all the time. I didn't know until recently how unhealthy they were. But yeah, English Bulldogs, Pugs, King Charles Spaniel. The mind of the Dalmatian can sometimes be unhealthy. What else? Those would be the ones that I would avoid. Now, as far as breeding into our breed, Mosher American, I would avoid the Johnson American Bulldog. For some reason, they have allowed that dog to really go downhill as it's become more of an aesthetic dog. I mean, there's a lot of dogs, that just go downhill. But as far as reintroducing, if I had an American Bully and I was going to reintroduce a breed, it would be the Amstaff. I would probably breed it in there 1 generation, breed a new Amstaff in there a 2nd generation, and then take that and then go ahead and start breeding back for mass, bone, and what we call breed type. If so, I say absolutely no bulldog. That's a lot to explain in kind of this late and live. That'd be a personal conversation. Yeah, bulldog is the one that really ruined this breed. Yet it's the traits that they're so proud of. The Mastiff didn't do it too great either, but I think a lot of the issues we have in this breed come from the Bulldog. At Blockhead, I do know. What's up, Mr. J? I do not believe so. You would have to register the female to the same registry so the pups can be registered. Unless they'll take single registration. If the stud books are still open, if we're talking about bullies, which they are, you can do single registration. Zachariah said Nigerians are small, mostly used for milk. Which one would be the funnest? That would be my question. As far as goes, personality, make you laugh, which ones would be the most fun? What's your next big move breeding wise? As far as me, we have a kennel. Every now and then I accidentally shout them out because I don't want anybody knowing who we're turning to, that we're getting 2 dogs from. One dog has a heavy gray line. We already have the big thing, the bone thing. So one dog is heavy gray line. She's a female. I'm hoping, as far as a shortcut, getting a male off of breeding that's taking place with this same kennel. I'm hoping to get a male. As far as the best route, I'm hoping to get a female. But either way, this kennel has a female that's about a year old right now. I'll be picking her up when we move to Arkansas. And they have a pup from a breeding that has reached that's to take place. And I'm hoping that that breeding takes and that we get a pup off of that breeding. And that is pretty much all we need to get where we need to go. And because so far everything we have has been working out pretty good. It's just a few little adjustments we need, and those 2 dogs will be perfect for that adjustment. Let's see, Pitbull. Let's see, Pitbull Bell said, Blockhead, you'd have to see if single open register is still a thing, then single the dog that has no papers and your lineage start. You know what? That makes sense. Single the dog that has no papers also, and then start registering the pups. That makes sense. I actually said that backwards. Belinda's 100% correct because I said just go ahead and single register the pups. But yeah, so single register the dog that has no papers. That gives you some foundation, and then register the pups based off of that because now they'll have the mom or the single registered dog as part of the pedigree, and then you've already got papers on the dad. So that actually makes more sense. Let me see here. Thank you, Mr. J and Pitbull Bell. No, not for reintroducing, just in general as pets or separate breed programs for American Bullies. From American Bullies. Yeah, to me, the pug, the English bulldog, those are the most unhealthy dogs. Frenchies aren't that healthy either. I think there are some good ones out there. But any dog that's got that smush face, that bulldog traits, those are going to be your worst. I don't know why the King Charles is so bad, but maybe due to over inbreeding. But yeah, the English bulldog is and the pug are like man's first exotics. That we said, okay, we're gonna do this, and we did it strictly for our looks. What up, Rose? Thanks for joining in. Let's see. Bill Bell said, John, lots of people still have bullies that can be guardians for you or livestock. Oh yeah. Our dogs would do a great job guarding livestock. King would be great guarding livestock. I'm cooking short ribs on the barbie. Man, you got me hungry. That's exactly what I'm about to do is eat as soon as I'm off of here. Let's see here. Donna Whitaker, do you remember which live it was showing you putting the sheet over the pool? And Robert McCormick, YouTube, please. Which live? The one with me and Robert McCormick, if you go back, is part of the marketing series. So if you go back, I think it's a 4-part series. Robert McCormick's YouTube, I'm not sure if it's Robert McCormick or if it's KTK Bullies. That I'm not sure. Inbox me, and then I can make sure that I copy and paste them and send them to you. Inbox me on either Messenger or Instagram. And I'm glad I said that because I need to go through both of those. The live showing me putting the sheet, I want to say it was a Facebook live that I did in the old Giant XL American Bully Breed group. And that live went away when they canceled the group. But hold on, I might have done it on my page. Let me check something real quick and see. Photos, see all photos or albums, because I should be able to narrow it down to videos, right? Cover photos, profile photos, videos, your videos. See all. Uh-oh, hold on. You might be able to find it. Good Lord. I can't believe I have this many videos. Okay, this looks like around when she was pregnant. Is it on here? It's not on here. So it might have gone away. It went away with the group. I'll redo it. Or figure out a way to re-explain it. Damn, I could have swore it was on here though. But I guess not. And that's all the videos. So yeah, it's not. So it's gone now. I didn't realize that until just now. Yeah, it is officially gone. What is this video? All right. Let's see. So I'll redo it. I don't have any puppies, but what I will do is, damn, but it seems like that is somewhere. Hold on. Let me look one more place on the Thor Bullies page and see if it's on there. All right, where do I find my Thor Bullies Facebook page? Why don't I see just photos and videos? I don't see it. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Nope. Ads. I'm not trying to do an ad. Photo, video. Oh. No, I don't want to do one. I want to find it. Shouldn't there be a section that just shows what pictures and photos I have collectively? Hold on. There we go. Bam. Video. See all. All right. So this is our last place to find it. And boom, boom, boom. Nope. I do not have it. So Facebook deleted it when they deleted it in the group. So, but I'll figure out a way to make it more visual. Well, you know what? I'll just do it. So I'll do a video on it. I'll do one soon. Promise you. Um, what's up, Rose? Let's see. Okay, Casper. And health. I'm a bull breed person, so my first choice, if you have time and energy, I'll always say the true APBT. I agree. 100%. Second, certain mastiffs, or even a nice bred Bandog. I think the Bandog would work great. I think it was being used anyway in the beginnings. I just think at some point they stopped using well-bred dogs. Like we know Dave Wilson was into the show ring and everything. So at some point, this all got away from him and those people who were originally trying to get this going. Gosh, it's true. I do hear people often say to stay away from bulldogs. Other than that, I like all sorts of dogs. I love the boxer. I like boxers too, but I know it happens. It has a lot of health issues. They can. My buddy's actually got a boxer. I want to say he's a year older than Floyd, 16. Good APBT will always be a healthy choice. As for his masses, I'm more of a presser than Cane Corso. I like the presser more than the Cane Corso. I think the Cane Corso got overly bred and started being used a little too much for its look and has fallen away from the health and intelligence that it once has. I still think there's great specimens out there, though. Rams Bait and Tackle from San Antonio. What's up, man? Thanks for joining in. I like Presser and Corso, but you have to be careful with both and choose quality. Be patient when searching for one. Agreed. Montgomery's, what's up? Thanks for joining in. And Rose says, anyone see my videos in the Giant XL? I didn't know yet. I need to go in there. They hold off. I'm going to tell you right now, Rose, they hold off on approving videos because the kind of agreement I have with the mods is that we don't post videos, we don't post lives unless they're able to be seen right then and there. So if they're from YouTube, they may not, but I'll go through and look for them. But we do try to avoid posting people's videos in there. Better place, especially with you breeding Bandogs, is the Dogs of Grit group. We approve all videos in there as long as it's not, if it's an American Bully, it has to be in the process of working. Other than that, we will show all other breeds, just state what breed it is. But I'll go through the group and check out your vids. But they avoid posting vids in the group. So a lot of times the mods will not approve it. Let's see, I posted 2. No, the true classic, not the new classic. And just so you understand, the reason we don't post videos in there is unless they're showing through Facebook, is because it kind of messes up the look of the group when they've got to click on something and go somewhere else. We want to just kind of flow. Good pictures of bullies. Let's see, I posted 2. So I'll check them out. Not the true classic. No, the true classic, not the new classic. Exactly. No, I agree with that 100%. Actually, the female that we are picking up would be considered like an old school classic. But she's an XL. She's XL height, so she's a leaner dog. But she has the build, the style of the old school classic. And I can't stand when people say it's a classic XL. No. Anybody in South Texas looking for an American Bulldog? So if you guys are looking for American Bulldog, hit up Rams. Oh, they used to throw every height in classic if it was that style. Would that make more sense? See, that's crazy. To me, it's just don't have all the classes. As dog people should know that you're going to have a leaner version of your breed, your class, a leaner version in the show ring. The show ring puts mass and bone on all breeds. So I don't get why they came up with so many classes, and for them to have a class that, I mean, you think about it, they had classic, standard, and extreme at the same height. So it's like, I don't know, it just comes off as a money grab. Tag me in the video. Let's see, Rose tagged me too. Blockhead Kendall said I did an experiment bred AXL to American Pit Bull Terrier and got all standard classics. I would think you get something nice off of that. Hey, Benevolent, what's up? Thanks for joining in. All right, we're almost at the bottom. What am I? 7:38 and it's 7:51. Damn. Bully APVT. Amstaff and take back to a bully is one of the best choices in my opinion. I agree. Nigerians are probably best pets as well. Most fun. Okay, cool. Thanks for letting me know that. Dogs are not what they were 25 years ago. I agree when I look at them. I think people have gotten fearful of dogs that were more functional and more intelligent and started breeding something that was dumber and not more easy to control, but easy to sit over there and leave. Let's see here. It's definitely sad. I agree. I want to add more gray line to my yard and gaff. I want to get all gray line female. There you go. And he's working also, just so you guys know, Dr. Gary Moore, Doc is he's working on it. So don't sleep. He's bringing back that gray line. Gary Moore is bringing back that gray line blood. Daryl, how do you not get caught up in the FB drama when you know the info a post is promoting is bad and incorrect information, generally speaking? You know what? I'll just kind of make my statement. I don't remember what the post was today. I will make a statement, and then 9 times out of 10, I will leave it at that. Most times when I get caught up, it's typically a old school breeder, somebody that's been breeding the breed 20 years, and they like to try to make up things I say or make up things I'm doing or lie. Basically, that's what it boils down to. It's the people that lie that are the hardest for me to ignore. People who are incorrect, those I could deal with. When you see me going back and forth with somebody, it's either going to be a debate and a slight disagreement, but I'll usually fade off. The people that I have the hardest dealing with, that you'll see me go back and forth with, are people who are delusional and don't realize it. Usually it's because they're loyal to something that I had no loyalty to. The other people that you'll see me going back and forth with are people who lie. So and it's funny you bring that up, and it's funny I'm saying that because my cousin and I were talking about it, and I've gotten to the point now where those who are delusional about the registry or the show ring or dogs in general, I'm no longer dealing with them. Those who lie, I'm no longer dealing with them. If they want to go live on YouTube or Facebook, tell a lie about me, tag me to it, I'm just walking away from it. They might get maybe an emoji. That's what I might come up with not an emoji, but a GIF. I might come up with a GIF for them, and that's going to be all, and then I'm moving on. Because other than that, it becomes a waste of time. And it's kind of like my mom said, when two people are arguing, if you argue with a fool, people from a distance, after a while, don't know who's a fool. And that's something I have to stick with when it comes to social media. PvP finest, but sometimes you just gotta ignore it. They might say something and it's the funniest, you have the funniest response and you just have to ignore it. And a lot of my sarcasm I hold back on when it comes to Facebook, because when a asshole comes across a jackass, the asshole is always going to look like the bad guy. So I try to hold back a lot, but I have become a new person that the liars and the delusional will be ignoring, or they might get a funny gift from me, and that's it. I just had a litter, and the pups have gaff razor's edge. Nice. Good fella, gray line in their blood. Nice. How far back? PBP, finest bully, said that's another blood I like is Goodfella dogs. I need to find more. You know what? I'm not sure what blood that is. Goodfella is a great bloodline. I've seen some of those dogs in person. Hella Drive. I don't know that I've seen that. I mean, I'm sure I've seen the blood, but I don't know that I've recognized it as being Goodfella. My Razor's Edge gaff females. Let's see. G Money said, what would be the point of reintroducing a different breed, pit Amstaff, to the American Bully? The only purpose I could see in reintroducing a breed, of course, would be for Merle, which has already been done, so there's no need to do that. But to bring back the structure that needs to be back in this breed is the only purpose I would see in it. I think there's dogs with decent temperament, decent drive levels. I don't think you need the Amstaff or Pitbull to bring that back. I would say to bring back a good structure as a foundation, and then get back into breeding into the bullies. Wouldn't that be a mutt? You know what? It would be a mutt until you start breeding it back into the blood. So could you take an American bully, breed it to an Amstaff? And some would say it's not because Amstaff is already in there. But factually speaking, if you take an American bully, you breed it to an Amstaff to get structure. It's not a mutt because a mutt is a dog that has no purpose in why it's being bred. It's not bred to keep a breed together. It's not bred to make a breed better. A mutt is just I'm breeding my Rottweiler and my German Shepherd because that's what I happen to have, or they just happen to lock and tie. That's what a mutt is. As far as taking an outside breed and bringing it into your breed, that is done. The Cane Corso did it with the Cane Corso community, did it with the Boxer. The Dalmatian, I forget what, I want to say brought in the Pointer. I think somebody pointed that out before in one of the lives. So, it just depends. So would it be a mutt? No. Would it be half Amstaff, half American Bully? Yes. But that's why you want to get it back into the bully. PvP said my Razor's Edge Gat female is going to Remy blood here pretty soon. Adding a lot of Remy to my yard as well. Remy's one of my favorite bullies. The King Charles, I heard they use one main stud that had neurological issues, and through it, wow, and they often have seizures. So is that how it happened? They were using one main stud. Everybody was breeding out. See, American bully community, take note. Spirit Rider, okay, who sent him down this rabbit hole. Donna Whitaker said off subject, was just wondering how you got. You didn't finish your sentence. Off subject, was just wondering how you got. Mr. J said, dude in a bully group called my dog a reindeer, boxer mix. You can't pay him no attention because his dog might have what he calls breed type, but not have what the next person has breed type. And what other flaws does he have? And if you start off with a well-structured reindeer, what they call a reindeer boxer mix, and now you breed to the dog that he likes, guess what you're starting off with? And guess the selection that you have as far as structure with that litter of pups. You see what I'm saying? So chances are he's going backwards. Only thing I'm missing is Camelot blood in my yard. Is Camelot a blood, though, or a kennel? Pitbull Bell said, G-Money, have you not seen TBE condition of the bully? There's a need to breed back or start over. See, and honestly, what we're doing, we're using all bullies, but we're taking the variety of bullies, and then we're bringing it all together with the thought process of rebuilding the breed. That's kind of the way my cousin and I are going about it. Let's see here. On to Raul's channel. Were you friends before you was in there? Just thought I'd mention that. I'm glad you was on there so we could find you. Okay, hold on. Okay, off subject, was just wondering how you got onto Raul's channel. Were you friends before you? No, I started off in the bully community, and Raul hit me up. Actually, I think he's one of the first people to ever interview me. He hit me up, stated he liked what I was pushing. He knew I was kind of a controversial figure in the community, and he wanted to do an interview with me. Raul and I did an interview. We had a good time doing the interview. And then from there, he invited me to be a part of his platform. And that's how we began running with it. And then from there, Danny got involved, and then Bobby got involved. And now we got our little Monday night crew. But yeah, Raul and I met through the bully community. He always had respect for what he was doing. And he one day just kind of hit me up out of nowhere, wanted to do an interview with me. And we clicked. We had a good time doing the interview, and then we started rocking out every Monday. Let's see. Castro said, G-Money bully is still growing breed, therefore I'd say a lot of bullies are still mutts. You know what? A buddy of mine, Jason McGee, is super cool with Kat from Boston Kennels. And she had that comment to say that because the minute they become to that 5th to 10th generation that's needed to create a breed, that person takes that, gets a pup from it, and then they take it and they breed it to somebody else, and who knows what they did or what they're on. And so that's, that statement that carries a lot of weight. Mr. J, you eventually get good at scrolling and having a buddy to rant to. Exactly. Casper said, or G Money said, Castro, I see. That's crazy how rules change. Don Winokur said, will you still have enough time when you move to still do the lives and other things for us? Your knowledge is 100, learning so much. Yes. This move is going to bring more to the lives. I'll be able to explain more, show more. I hold back doing too much, showing too much in the yard because my neighbors' addresses, there's a lot of funniness that goes on in the bully community. Whereas once I move here, I'll be in the middle of the woods. You won't be able to see an address and put 2 and 2 together of exactly where I live, how I live, things like that. And then if somebody wants to locate that spot, that's 100% fine. That where I'll be moving to. We could take on, me and my wife will be there, and we could take on our army. So so I'll be able to show a lot more of what I used to do when I was young before getting into bullies, as far as, training, conditioning, the sceneries, a little less city. So I'll be actually doing more and bringing more to these lives. Rose said PvP finest. Now, one problem is going to be how well is the internet, but I think we figured that part out. PvP finest bullies, check out Imperial Flame Kennels. Let's see here. Classic seems like it is more like a style / look than an actual class. To me, that's how it should have been treated. To me, classic, double XL, extreme, those are really styles of the breed, not actual classes. So I agree 100%. Hotep Kennels got some Camelot blood also. My Bailey's a classic, said Betsy. Let's see. Rob, what's up, bro? I'm just getting down to the end, so don't type a lot because I'm trying to get off of here. Okay, Zachariah said the Nigerian dwarf goats best for pets. Okay, cool. And that's what we're going to stick with. Matter of fact, let me type that back in on Google so I can remember to go back and look at it with my wife. All right, there was another one you guys said. Norwegian. That's right. Norwegian dwarf goats. There we go. So Nigeria and Norwegian and Norway are battling it out for goats. And so it's also include, okay, cool. Wait a minute. Why when I type in Norwegian, the Nigerian keeps coming up? Huh. I like one of you guys said Norwegian. I got to look at that. But what's up, Rob? Let me see here. Good. Let's see here. G Money's Pitbull Bell. Hey, Rob, somebody was asking what your YouTube is, and though I am subscribed, I don't remember if it was KTK Bullies or whether it is under Robert McCormick. So put that in the comments so they know, and that way when I get to it, I'll say it out loud. But somebody was asking. Pitbull, so you could mix a am staff with a bully, keep the bully as pup, and work off that pup. That's one of the best things I think this breed could do. Through IKCUES, but wouldn't be my first choice to breed back to. Let me see. Where are we? What is phone doing? UKC. Oh, UKC. Okay, exactly. G-Money, yes, though, UKC. Yeah, Catherine said yes, G-Money open stubbook allows crosses like that to happen. When stubbooks close, then no more crossbreeding, at least for UKC. Exactly. I want to say with most of them it's that way. I don't know that, I'm not sure how ABKC plans on doing it, but I would assume once they close that stubbook, it's a wrap. Because usually it means no more single registered dogs and no more single registered dogs and no more using other breeds to create the breed of topic. Yes, okay. Weed'em and Weep, good Nigerian dwarf goats. YouTube channel more than home growing food, but she has goat videos and goat milk videos, if I remember correctly. Nice looking goats too. All right, so Weed'em and Weep. Type that in here. And Weep, so I don't forget. Bam, there they go. Okay, goats. All right, perfect. And where are Weed'em and Reap is the channel. I found it. I think they are called Tennessee fainting goats. I don't want those. Those are the ones that you scream at them or clap real loud and they just pass out. I don't want that happening. Daryl, I think a great topic would be F series breedings and the process. Example, bully. I get what you mean when it comes to F1s. I don't know that it would be a F1 due to the fact that the APBT is already really in there somewhat, even if it's just in there through the AM staff. So I don't know that we have F1, F2 breedings in our breed because we're going back to breeds that we already used to create it. And that was only, 30 years ago. So I'm not sure that I think we would have to bring a totally outside breed like a German Shepherd or something in for us to get that. Now I want a fainting goat. Nah, see, the fainting goats are funny, but I don't know that I want a goat that when it hears a loud sound, it just passes out. Let's see. F series would be great. We can get into it. We can get into that. We'll definitely do that since y'all mentioned it. Definitely, especially if you make it part of the poll that goes up Monday evenings or Monday or Tuesday mornings. Daryl, how do you feel about bully breeders developing separate breeds on the side with a purpose using the American bully? I don't have an issue with it. I think if, for instance, let's say I have bullies and we decided to get into Bandogs and I use the bullies to create that Bandog, I wouldn't have an issue with it. So, for instance, with us, we know that we will be using bullies that are going to be having, when you get a bully from us, you're going to have a family guardian. You're still going to be able to take it to all public places. It should still get well along with other dogs as long as you start socializing it early with outside dogs, so that it becomes accustomed to coming across outside dogs. But but we'll have a line that we're thinking about slightly tweaking things to go towards whatever we think the show ring is going for at that time, but not breeding two dogs that will give that look. But I don't have a problem with somebody having two different dogs or two different breeds or two different lines that they breed for purpose. I think that gives you something to bounce back on when that line that is created for aesthetics hits that brick road. So I don't have an issue with that at all. I think it's smart, to tell you the truth. Max Cole Breeze said, I'm late to get back. What's up, man? Thanks for joining in. Better late than never. Wait, what exactly are you talking? F series, F1 breeding or Cole? F series is as far as like F1, but I don't know that you would consider breeding a bully that's only been here really 30, 20 to 30 years to a breed that was already used to create it, I don't think that would be considered F1. As how the F1, F2 lead to your own bloodline. Exactly. Well, you know what? I've never heard anybody talk about bloodlines being considered F1, F2. Also the F1B, etc. Yeah, F1s, F2s. That is more about crossing two separate breeds to create a breed. Bloodline, though, is a very similar process. Thank you for the score yesterday. What's up, Ace 900? Demon Life Bullies said, thank you for the score yesterday. Now I know my female is breed quality. I had the black pocket with the bad light. I remember. It was a good looking dog. That was a good one yesterday. That was fun. Spirit, I know, but culling needs to come back. It does. Mass Cool Breeze said, have you seen Champion Purple Nova? Champion Purple Nova. No, I don't believe I have. All right, y'all. It's 8 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and close this out. Thank y'all for jumping in, and I will see y'all next Tuesday. We out.